Right. All right, this is Hunter's Hangout. This is season 2, episode 15, and we're gonna get it started. And go ahead, Brad. No, I'm joking. We did something a little different on this show. We actually had the Bloodshed Brothers come on, and we let them choose who they wanted to be on with, and so they choose the people that follow them, and they're gonna get on and drill them and see what kind of questions they come up with. So
they're gonna just bend us over, slap our ass, and drill us.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
wow. Nice.
It's gonna be one.
Right.
And I think my parents are watching, so hey, Mom and Dad, yeah.
Mom and Dad see
just awkward silence.
Yeah. Nothing like proud mama and dad.
Right. But anyways, you can follow the chat on. You can follow the chat on YouTube that Brad put up, and there is the chat on the Facebook. And if you have any questions, just start out with a question, and that's it. And we're gonna give it to Brad and Jim, and let them get started. I know, dude. Hey, see how I am with no liquor?
I know. It's like Jose, while I'm doing the rest of this right now, you can go make a drink real quick, and then you can join us.
I told you she left the Coke. She took the Coke. It's no alcohol, dude. It's like I don't even feel normal.
You better hit it straight then. You got a lot
prepared well.
Since Jose isn't sure which of us he's throwing to, maybe I'll just interject here and use this opportunity to post a photo that was sent to us today from our friend Virgil Taylor, who had an interesting new prop or a series of props that he completed, and I figured I'd show them all to you guys here. If you have a look on my screen there, those are 3. What do you call those?
Tombs.
Tombs with the name Lopez, Walden, and Goodspeed on them. So there's the Hunter's Hangout.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I told myself. I hope you don't expect us to fill them.
Yeah, so what an honor. It was pretty awesome that he sent that and did that for us. So we're like, man, that's great. So he's putting that in his haunt, and I guess only a haunter could really truly appreciate having a tomb with their name on it. So I don't know who else would really appreciate that.
I'm trying to see who lived the longest.
Right.
Oh, that would be me. Both of Diablo and Brad are both in the 1700s, and mine is from the 1200s. So
yeah. Well, we lived fast and left a good-looking corpse. That was our plan, right, Diablo?
Oh, okay.
That's what I told him. And I actually told him, I said, I'm not going to fill that thing. And then he's like, well, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you know how many Mexicans you can put in that tomb? I was like, what? I've seen him climb in the car before, dude. There's a lot. You can fit a lot in there. Like, nice. You got him.
So thank you, Virgil. It was awfully kind of you. It was pretty awesome to see that. So yeah, thanks. It's good to know that we'll be memorialized in your haunt. But he did say that he does that a lot. He likes to put anything that ties in with people he knows in one way or fashion, even though that nobody knows anything about it going through. It's just kind of for him and his own way to personalize things. So that is pretty cool. I'm sure
he
a lot
also
of people
had
do
an
that.
Alan Hops one as well, right? He did an Alan Hops thing that he sent as well. So
of course he did. Of course he had Alan Hops one. Of course.
But again, as Jose mentioned earlier, this episode is primarily for our friends Zach and Jeremy with the Bloodshed Brothers. The folks that are joining us tonight not only are our guests, but they're also kind of like our guest hosts because they've got questions for Zach and Jeremy themselves. But a lot of them are doing their own thing, so we'll talk about them as well and find out what they've got going on. So before we get into it too much, we do have a couple birthday shout-outs that I'd like to mention. Tomorrow we've got Corey from Columbia Manor. Happy birthday, buddy. Hey.
Oh, damn.
No kidding.
Happy birthday.
Make sure you go buy yourself a haunt toy while you're out for your birthday.
I guess better get a skeleton, man.
Yeah, there you go.
It's home time.
Yeah, and we've got another former guest Monday. We've got Carl Schober is his birthday, followed by on Tuesday Jeremy Gardner, and Wednesday we've got Matthew Barish and Clint Allen Miller. So happy birthday, guys! I'm sure there's plenty of people that we've missed. That's just all I'm aware of. So happy birthday to everybody else.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers to everybody.
You guys all rubbing it in, right? Is that what that is? It's like everybody holds up a drink, and I'm like,
oh yeah, there you go. That's the whole point. Yeah, cheers. Hey, cheers, Jose. What are you?
Oh, it's so good.
kiss my ass. Mama better get off early, damn it.
So yeah, she better hurry up. You better text her and tell her to stop at the store and bring home something.
It's in the car, man. It's in the car.
We can't be having this. We can't be having this tonight. Yeah, we got. Yeah.
Why do you keep it in the car?
Yeah.
I'm going
Put it away safe.
I left it in there, and she took off with it. She knew it too.
And we did just for everybody's sake, the 14-year-old that was supposed to join us, unfortunately was not able to because of his computer and internet connection. We wish he was able to be here, but since he can't, hey, cheers, hey.
Whatever.
We did already check everybody else's IDs, and the only one in question was Phil, and we did understand that he is over 21. So.
All right, get out of the damn show already.
All right, we got myself, Jay Wall. Of course, we've got Diablo over there getting all rowdy because he doesn't have a drink, and our other friend. And as our main guest, we've got Zachary and Jeremy from the Bloodshed Brothers. Say hello, guys.
Hi, guys. Hey.
Coming to us live from California.
That's right.
And also joining us, as we mentioned before, we've got Phil from Nightmare. Uh-oh, I'm going to lose it. What is it? Nightmare on Fallsbrook. There you go.
What kind of damn host are you, man?
Sure.
I'm the, you know what? I'm the host with the drink.
Yeah, you had too much to drink, damn it.
He's the hostess who can toast us.
Also joining us, and we didn't realize this, but Ray is joining us from Budapest, just like some of our other past guests.
Ethiopia, you know.
Okay. Oh, it was Ethiopia. Okay.
Hey, we got real time there for a second.
Oh, wow.
It's working.
Almost. Look at that Chinese movement here.
No Bruce Lee action on us. Hey, Ray, say hello. Tell everybody hello.
Yeah, you said that.
All right, there you go. Okay, there you go. I was waiting for the delay. I'm sorry. Okay.
I am coming
Say
in
hello
with
again.
ancient Chinese action movie scenes.
And also joining us tonight is Jason Becker from Slam. Say hello, Jason.
What's going on, guys? How's everybody doing?
Hey.
Cheers.
Cheers. There you go.
There you go again.
And then our true. I know we've had a lot of international guests in the past, but we've actually really have our true life international guest, Dennis.
Hello.
Hey, Dennis, can you say hello to everybody?
That's right.
Good morning. Good night.
He's like, good morning. He took 2 naps to get on here.
I know. It's like 3 a.m. his time. He's joining us from the Netherlands. He's just outside of Amsterdam, just so everybody can understand where he's coming from. And the sad thing is, he has a better feed and audio than anybody else from the States.
Just the only one drinking coffee.
That's right. I'd take some coffee right now.
But I think I will go back to sleep after this.
Hey, that's a true follower right there. He's gonna stay up all night working on it.
No kidding. Well, I guess we'll just jump back real quick to the Bloodshed Brothers and get started with them. If you could just kind of, yep, that's exactly right, Zach.
So nervous.
Well, you guys are coming off an exciting weekend, aren't you?
Yeah. We just got back from the West Coast Hunters Convention in Portland. It was a lot of fun. It was the biggest show that they've had. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was a crazy weekend. We were really drunk the whole time. But it was really cool. There was haunt tours, Rocky Horror, costume contests, and ball. There was a movie pajama party, like where we did a Krampus like gift exchange, like the Sunday night. We went to a tiki bar. We went to this haunted pizza place that like a hooker died in at one point. We brought our family. We brought our parents and our sister to the first ever haunt convention, and we brought one of our actors, and the first time she'd ever gone to a haunt convention. So it was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I love when your mom's like, now you know why I drink.
Yeah. that woman reeked of tequila the entire weekend.
Yeah. You got that flask with her.
Yeah, she had the flask.
Yeah.
And did you win the contest?
No, we didn't win the costume contest. We didn't win any contest.
Hey, you will always win in my mind, especially from the Rocky Horror Picture Night.
I mean, he didn't win the contest because they didn't know he was dressed up. They're like, she's sexy.
Who's this naked girl running around?
Who's that naughty girl with me?
Oh, showed up with such a nice dress. That's nice.
So I wasn't gonna dress up for Rocky Horror, but then like Zach's girlfriend like changed her costume, and because that was all like her stuff that she had worn to local showings, and I'm like, okay. Well, I'll bring it. And so we ended up cutting the back out of the high heels so I could fit my feet in there. And then I'm like, I put on the wig and the makeup and the bra, and even I was wearing women's underwear underneath the slip. Like I went full on. I'm like, I'm not drunk enough to go out in public like this. So we started taking shots in the room. And then we're walking down. I'm like, I'm still not drunk enough to go out in public like this. So because the show was at like it was at a theater. It wasn't at the hotel at the convention. It was we had to go drive to a theater where an actual cast. We had to go. We went like actually out in public. And so I went back up to the room. I made a really strong drink, and we get to the theater. And as soon as I stand up from the bus, it was like, oh shit. So I'm stumbling around trying to climb out of the bus in heels. I don't remember the movie. I had to be reminded of the shit I said like to people the next day. And then at one point they brought us up on stage to do these little tasks and stuff. I had to perform as many sexual acts as I could with a person, and like me and this random girl, me and her were doing all this sex shit, and then the following night at the haunt tour, her dad was in line in front of us and wanted to know why I violated his daughter, and I was drunk. She came on to me. It was not my fault.
Best weekend ever.
Wow,
That makes a really good story.
Yeah, there you go.
And I was told I had the legs for heels, and that was a big compliment. And I felt kind of sexy, so I don't think it'll be the last time I do that.
Oh no!
Hey man, however you're dressed, a compliment's a compliment, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Well, before we get too much into that weekend, I do want to run down with the other guys we have here, and at least give them an opportunity to introduce themselves, tell them exactly where they're coming from, and what their involvement as far as the haunt and Halloween, and how they got involved with Zach and Jeremy. So we'll go ahead and get started with Phil. If you just want to give us a little bit about yourself, tell us exactly where you're coming from and what you've done. And
yeah, definitely. I'm actually from Connecticut, Bristol, home of ESPN. But
that you get charged extra for?
Yeah. More taxes for that, yeah. And I'm doing my second year of a home haunt. Last year, we did it for my first year. We always did like a big yard, but we actually did like a walkthrough for the first time. And yeah, we ran into a little trouble, which we'll probably get into later, but I came across the Bloodshed Brothers from Troy, Halloween Hellmouth, and ever since then I've been watching every vlog that they posted, and I saw them put a contest up, and that's when I entered it, and I won. So I'm happy.
I'm sorry the vlogs aren't better.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went ahead and started watching the Hangout instead.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we'll move on real quick and just have Ray introduce himself and tell everybody where you're from and kind of the background that you've had.
Sure. My name's Ray, obviously, and I come from New Hampshire. You know, that place in between Maine and Mass that no one knows where it exists on a map. I've worked at Spooky World in New England. It's like New England's big thing. I've worked briefly at Haunted Overload and at Haunted Acres. And other than that, I basically just work like I'm currently working on a film that I'm a part of, being directed by Jamie Cook, called Seasons of Wither, which is a really cool zombie film. And I found out about the Bloodshed Brothers through YouTube just randomly. Like, I wasn't even looking for anything. I just stumbled upon it. So
That's cool.
that's pretty much it.
That's cool.
There you go.
Sorry, they're not better. That's what I tell everyone. They're like, "Oh, I watch your videos." I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, they're not better."
Well, I tell you, you keep dressing in drag, you'll get some more views. I guarantee it.
I was just gonna say that.
We found how to get
I was
subscribers.
gonna say that.
Yeah, you'll pick up a whole nother genre right there. So
Yeah,
hey, what the heck? Any way you can get more subs, then what the heck?
I could go put on the bra right now. You know,
I dare you.
You could actually do a whole episode dressed in that.
there you go.
Yeah. Then you know Phil will start taking pictures then, brother.
There you go.
Well, let's move on over to.
He's doing it.
Oh, he is. He left. Oh, jeez. Okay, this is going to take a whole nother turn. He is the one. Zach and Jeremy. Before the show started. We were waiting for him to get on. Everybody was here. Even our guy from the Netherlands is here, and we're like, "Oh, come on! They're from California. They're like 3 hours behind us." But the problem is they're still trying to get off work and get home in time to even get on.
Yeah.
So as you saw, Zach's over there trying to shove his face with food, and Jeremy's in the background making teeth.
Oh, hell no.
You can't really see it.
This is the
Can
second
I mute
episode
their
we've
camera?
had excessive male nudity.
I can't keep my hands off myself when it's like this.
And you know what though? The problem is, Jeremy, this is kind of like a throwback Thursday for you because it's kind of like Jeremy in middle school. Before he grew his boots.
Oh, shit.
From now on, you will be referred to as Skeeter, okay? Hey, Jason, before we get really sidetracked here, if you could just introduce yourself, tell us everybody where you're from and what you've got going on.
Well, I'm Jason, a.k.a. Slam, and I'm in Roanoke, Virginia. I'm transplanted from Iowa about a decade ago, and I'm actually I'm going to call myself a born-again haunter, where I was in about a 10-year hiatus, where I was big into it, and then I was just in an area for a home haunt that just wasn't good for it, so I completely got out of it, and then we moved to a new area, a new neighborhood, which is just huge for Halloween, and just got super excited all again, and started up last year when we moved in, and I started getting online again and watching the YouTubes, and started watching the old Hunters Hangout, and ran across the Bloodshed Brothers, and started. I remember the first day I ran across these guys. I did nothing at work for 8 hours, but I sat there and just watched video.
That's not a video.
After video, and I'm like, this is awesome.
And then you got to their current stuff.
So yeah, thank you guys for having me here. I know you guys have huge names on here all the time, and to let let me in with such a greenhorn in here is I appreciate it very much. Good
Well,
time.
Hey, man, that's
you
what it's
paid
all
your
about.
Thank you,
That's
guys.
what matters.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Well, as we mentioned before, we've also got Dennis. And I'm going to butcher this. I'm going to ask him how to say it, but I just like saying Dennis Bond. And as far as his last name goes, you might as well just forget it.
Better forget it.
So if you could just kind of first off tell us your name, so we all know how the last name's pronounced correctly, and then just tell us where you're from and how you got started and all that good stuff.
Okay. Ik ben dan Dennis van Breukelen, kom uit Hilversum. Is een kleine plaats bij Amsterdam. Ik ben begonnen als een hound actor bij Six Flags Holland. En het is klein begonnen daar en nu mijn eigen hound genaamd Horror Nights.
The cops pulled you over for that?
No,
They definitely did.
That's crazy.
So that was our little show for the night.
Night, everybody.
Dennis is not going to do the whole show in Dutch, but
I definitely will not. But
start from
try it
scratch.
in English. Rewind in English.
Yeah, rewind to English. Wait a minute. Let me implement the translator. Okay, now you can go ahead.
Okay, I'm Dennis from Hilversum, a small suburb of Amsterdam. I've worked as a scare actor for 6-7 years at Six Flags Holland. They started with Halloween events here in the Netherlands. And now, starting last year, we started our own hunt called Horror Nights. And we're doing it this year again.
Oh, sweet.
Cool.
Hey, hold on one second. Hey, Logan. Does your girlfriend want to get on with you?
No, I think she's just, she wanted me to,
Just wondering. Does she want to get on with you?
No. Oh, she might want to sit on my face, but I mean, this is what she wants me to tell her. It's my daughter's book, but that's what she wants me to tell her.
Well, that's getting creepier by the minute.
No kidding.
Sit on my face while I read my daughter's book.
Of One Direction.
One Direction.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
It's not too twisted.
Whatever you're into.
Dennis,
Says the guy in the bra.
Yeah, says the guy in the bra. Hey, whatever you're into, it's okay.
Dennis, when you said you started a home hunt, is that a haunt? You mean a home haunt or a pro hunt?
We thought about it as a home hunt, but it literally exploded. We got from a landlord, we got an old office building. So we got like 1,500 square meters room to build 2 haunted houses.
Oh, wow.
Including one with a haunted lantern. And we had like 50 actors a night.
Wow.
For 3 weekends long, so it was like completely crazy.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
And we only done it with a budget of, let's say, 4,000 euro.
Wow.
That's like, I think it's like $3,000 around about.
Yeah.
Right. And you also have them lanterns. They actually got some lanterns over there that he has a site for that an actor can actually click off as they're walking through with the lantern, and it's like click, and they can just click it off, and it's like
That's
holy
cool.
shit.
People definitely spring out of it because we give it at the starting, and people get used to it because it was the only source of light in the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
when
they
you
just walk around. They just walk around with it.
and when you take that away, people go berserk.
Oh, no doubt. All right. Well, we're gonna start off. We're gonna start off with Phil, and Phil, you go ahead and drill them young, sexy boys over there, and.
So, my first question is, when you guys did your home hunt, how did you guys get, seen by the pro hunt that you guys have now? Like, how did you get the opportunity to go pro?
Jeremy was naked. Yeah, no.
I knew it.
That's all it takes.
Be
naked,
naked.
and you get a pro hunt. Sorry. We had the Field of Screams Haunted Stadium was a thing before we were in charge of it, and so we had gone one night when they were open, and we sat in the stadium. We filmed a review of it, and then we went home. Didn't even think much of it. Like we probably should have because
Been professional.
been
about it.
way more. I mean, the video's not very good. We're like singing and shit like on the way to the stadium. It's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there, we're filming, and then some of the actors had seen it, and then they started sharing it around, and then the stadium staff saw it, and when it came time for them needing someone new, they researched the rest of our YouTube channel and saw our walkthroughs and stuff. They're like, well, let's just call them in
For an interview.
interview. So if we had never started vlogging, we may have never done the Haunted Stadium.
Yeah.
So it was all because of the videos. Yeah.
That's the best story.
Another question is, how many people did you guys average when you guys did your home haunt?
Our last year we were open 2 nights. We had 1,800 people
Wow.
in
Wow.
2010. Yeah.
You were only open 2 nights?
Yeah, Halloween and the day before or after. I don't remember what it was that year. And yeah, we had the line was going like 3 houses down. You have my mom yelling at people for littering. She's sweeping the gutters with like candy wrappers and stuff. Like, it was a good time. It was almost out of hand. There was a lot of people out there. Yeah.
And this was at your house.
Yeah, our parents' house.
Wow.
We even
Did
had
the neighbors
like
complain?
no, they were all actors. But we had like these 2 girls wander in our backyard and wander into our parents' house looking for a bathroom. Yeah, and my parents saw them and they're like, oh, they must be just working for Zach and Jeremy. Nope. And I saw them and I'm like, oh, they must be like my parents' friends. And so these girls are taking dumps in our house and it's like everyone was cool. They just thought they were supposed to be there. Yeah. But yeah, no, our neighbors. We had some neighbors that weren't okay with it, it is like kind of, I don't know if it's a Southern California thing, but we don't have mailboxes in everyone's yard. We have like a community one, like 16 smaller mailboxes, and that was happened to be in our parents' front yard. So it's like we have everyone on our street walking down every day to check their mail, and they can see the hunt going up. And we had these 2 neighbors who they weren't okay with it, and they would like look at us and like look at the hunt, and they're like, well, that's creative, and like walk away. And it's like they're gonna call the city, and we're gonna get shut down. But yeah, I mean everyone was okay with it. We had all of our actors were our neighbors pretty much. So
that's cool.
That helps.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'll ask one more question before I let other people do it. But as far as advertising your home haunt, how did you guys go about doing that?
We had made a bunch of flyers and like tried to put them wherever we could, and we probably made like 300 flyers because it was all we could afford at the time. But then we were right down the street from a high school, so I just made like 2 pallets and put a sheet A-frame, put a sheet on each side, put haunted house with an arrow, and that's out the main road, and that's how we got most of our traffic, was putting it out there like on the Friday before, so everyone going to school could see it. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
Speaking of advertising, Jamie Henry Huggins wants to know how you get the word out to find actors, and what do you look for when choosing actors for your haunt?
We post on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, pretty much anywhere people can follow. We have our personal Facebooks, the Bloodshed Brothers Facebook, the Feel the Screams Facebook, the Feel the Screams Twitter. Like we have all these different platforms, and so we post there. A lot of it's word of mouth now, because we get high school kids who get their community service by acting for us. So it's just word of mouth. It's just like they'll get their whole group of friends to just come and act because one person did it last year and they loved it, and so it really kind of just the people kind of just come to us. Like we don't really push like too hard when it comes to like getting people.
So describe the progression. Like I'm sure when you started, it was just your friends acting. And then as it grew, you had to count on strangers. Like, how did that work?
It's still a learning process. Yeah. After like was our 4th year or 5th year? Our 4th year. Yeah. It's because like you have these 10 people in your home hunt that like truly are there because they care about your vision, and now you have like 70 to 80 kids who are just there maybe for community service, and maybe about 20 of them truly care about your vision. So it's really hard because they're all volunteers, so you want to just take them and shake them and scream at them, but you can't. So you have to like...
Well, do you any training, or have you got any auditions for them, and what do you do during those auditions?
Yeah, we'll have an audition around August. Pretty much it's just because we get such a high rate of people showing up that we'll do a group audition. We'll get like 5 or 6 at a time. I'll go over them what mazes and themes are this year, and then I'll just kind of like, usually let them pick a first and second choice, and then I'll have them do an audition based off of that. So it's like if they want to be a hillbilly or a clown, I'm like, okay, do a redneck voice, do a clown laugh, that kind of thing, and like act something out. And so we pretty much, if they shy up and don't do anything, that's usually the only reason we'll cut somebody. I mean, but because we know if they can do something without mask and makeup, they can do it with a mask and makeup. So if they can perform for us right there on the spot, they're pretty much guaranteed a position. And we're really not that hard to impress either, but people get so scared that they're like, I can't do it, and we're like, then sorry, this isn't your thing. Yeah.
Don't you have several levels of actors you need? Some more with lines, some just scaring, popping out, and don't audition for that more?
If they blow our minds during auditions, then there's someone we're gonna think like, oh, this person could have a speaking part, or this person should do this, or this person wasn't that great, so let's put them as a pop out. We'll write it right on their paperwork as it happens.
What kind of scare they're gonna do? Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
But we already going forward, like we make everyone re-audition to make it fair, but there's still some actors that are like that we already know that are so good. It's like it doesn't matter if they come and they blow an audition. It's like they're still such a good actor that we already have plans for them in the future.
Great. But how you say you re-audition for everybody, but sometimes you got those actors you really don't want to have back, but you can't just re-audition and say you're not good enough. How do you deal with that?
Well, the actors we really don't want back are usually because of behavior problems, and then we'll tell them like, sorry, because of what you did last year, you can't come back. Or if they come back a year later, maybe a year a little more mature, and they are really apologetic and are really cool with us, then we'll like, okay, we'll give you another shot.
Yeah, typically if there's an actor we don't like for whatever reason, I mean, if they're a bad actor, like, I mean, we'll work with them to get them better, but if they're a bad actor because they're misbehaving, then we'll just kick them out and just have them not come back. Like, it's that simple. Because, like, especially with us, what we do is we have our auditions in August, and then maybe, 2 weeks into us being open in September, I'll have another 30 emails of people wanting to act for us, but we're full. So I'll just email all those people back, and I'll tell them to, like, hang tight, because we always have to kick people out for whatever reason, and then we just we cycle people in, and we let all of our actors know it's like, you guys are easily replaceable, so don't mess around.
That's a really good thing to do.
Speaking of actors, Christopher Omadahe, I'm sorry I can't pronounce the last name. What are your thoughts on kids moving away from volunteering their time at a great haunted house, doing it for fun, compared to kids now wanting money and working for money and thinking volunteering sucks?
Well, for us, we've had kids not work for us anymore and go work for Notch or go work for Rob Zombie, and we're like, good, like, go make money doing what you love, like that we are able to be that platform, and you get your experience here. That is so cool to us, because like that's all, they're the future of the industry, so like that's always cool.
And plus, it's kind of like a bonus advertising for us. It's like, oh, we worked at the Field of Screams, it's like, so it just gets our haunt more well known. I mean, so we don't mind it. We had 3 actors last year who just like got hired to work Rob Zombie's haunt. And, like, we weren't upset. We're like, if you guys don't get hired back next year, or you guys don't like it, you're more than welcome to come back to us.
But then there's the kids that are like, well, I've worked here for 6 years, and I deserve to get paid. Then we tell them, it's like, if we were to pay 10 of you minimum wage for the 5 weekends, there goes, like, the budget to do anything new at the haunt this year. So it's not that we don't want to pay you. It's literally the stadium cannot afford to pay you. Like,
so you guys don't get, like, a lot of money. You're basically doing, getting scrap, trying to find whatever you can on the budget, like a home haunter, but then having a pro haunt, though.
Yeah, like we have like a nice budget, but it's not just like, oh, we gotta like buy 80 new wall panels or a bunch of new props. It's like we have to. Our budget is like the toilet paper and the soap and like all the stuff for the bathrooms that are used for the 5 weekends.
Okay.
It's the food the concession stand needs to buy.
It's the paying security and the janitors and the concession stands and the ticketers and the stadium, the staff that we don't have to worry about, that the stadium pays to be there, because they work the baseball season. That's their time off for the year. So. And then we do the lumber and the makeup, and I mean it's all the other stuff, the fog and everything else.
So like 70% of what the stadium pays for is completely out of our control. Like if we were to be like, oh no, we shouldn't pay them, they would be like, sorry, we're paying that person.
Clean the bathrooms yourselves every weekend is what they tell us.
So for instance, when you get that free load of wood, it's still like you said. You put it on Facebook and everything else, and so it's still just as exciting, because for the most part you're still basically operating a home haunt because you're on a very limited budget.
It's like a home haunt on steroids. I mean, we spent like a couple grand on lumber a few years ago, and that's something we couldn't have done at the home haunt. Yeah. But still, it was only like 30 extra wall panels. So I mean, we're still cutting corners and doing things very home haunt style. We're still like nailing doors shut so the fire marshal doesn't see all the lamp cords we're not supposed to be using. I mean,
that's why I like you guys. That's the way we're trying to do everything also around here, because when you don't have the big budget for it, you need to be creative. You need to try things. You need to make inventive things to do it. But otherwise, it's not possible to do it. If you have to do everything following the book, you will be crazy, or you need to have a shitload of money.
Yeah, and
that's probably why haunters are so creative, because there's almost never a big budget.
There's no money. There's no money.
Our motto at the Haunted Stadium every year is, "It'll be dark." Like, people are like, "It'll be dark. Trust me, we don't have to do that."
See, I thought you guys would have had like sponsorships, like a local grocery store, or somebody who just wants to.
No one wants to sponsor. This year we're pushing for more sponsors, but it's hard to pitch a sponsorship when we tell them, okay, give us the money now, and then your sponsorship will kick in October. Like, that's the hardest part. Because
I thought the hardest part was convincing them when Jeremy's wearing a bra. I figured that was
that too.
Or maybe you haven't tried him with the bra.
Exactly. Maybe that's why we're not getting sponsors. and then some of the experience we've had with sponsors hasn't worked out. Like, we had Carl's Jr. Sponsor one night, and they fed all of our actors. But in return, we had to put the Carl's Jr. logo on the jumbotron. So all night we had this giant bright white Carl's Jr. logo. And it ruined the effect of the entire.
All the mazes, like it looked like daytime in the mazes. It was crazy.
Or like before we were running it, they had K-Frog, like the country station, blasting country as soon as you walked into the stadium. And when we got hired, I was like, no K-Frog, no any radio station,
no DJ.
Blasting the top 20 at my haunted house.
No shit.
Did you guys go out looking for sponsorships yourself, or did you have like a group that you hire basically to go out and try to find sponsors for you?
The stadium has a marketing guy, so the same marketing guy they do for baseball is the same guy we do, and he's new as of last year, and he's really excited. So he's actually like a really huge help this year.
At least you guys don't have to explain what a haunted house is.
That was
That's
actually
a good point.
That's one of our biggest challenges still, is that they're baseball people, and I mean they're just coming on, like, trying to get it, like, even though it's May, and like we officially haven't started like our build yet. It's because they're baseball guys. It's not because we're lazy and we don't want to. We were ready to start building in March, but it's just it's baseball season, so that's their priority right now.
That brings up a good point. Why does the stadium have an interest in this, and they invest the money and the time? Is it because they do have open space and there's nothing going on? Do they feel that it's a marketing way to get people associated with the stadium in the off season, or is it in the fact do they make money off this?
You're exactly right. They have this empty stadium for half the year, so they saw
that's a perishable asset.
Yeah, they saw the value in haunted houses a few years ago, and it's just been growing ever since.
And it's not just us. We during when the haunts opened, we were competing around 3 events. Like they have an Oktoberfest, they have a mud run, they have motorboat races, they have. They're doing stuff all the time. I mean, even during the season, like they just had events this past weekend when they had away games. So it's all the time.
Well, that's a good point.
That's good.
Yeah.
I just want to say that since the image of Jason has to be frozen for whatever reason, I'm so glad it's such a happy picture.
I know, right?
I thought it was only with the song Frozen.
No, it's everybody. Oh, Jason will just become Blue Boy.
Am I frozen?
Just your picture.
Jason, you're like this.
Yeah.
I'm not even seeing that. I'm just seeing the Blue Boy. I'm not even seeing that.
Oh, okay.
Is that something I gotta do to fix?
No, jump off and come back on.
If you jump off and jump back on, that may.
I thought it was just me. That's why I didn't say nothing.
Yeah, I know.
No one said nothing.
But on this sort of the same theme, Pandora Rose has a question for the brothers. Describe any difficulties for you in switching from a home haunt to pro. Did you find yourself trying to use home haunt hack fixes for things like electrical, etc., or did you learn early on what the local safety and fire codes were?
Initially, fun fact, I didn't want to do the pro haunt. When we got the email, I'm like, no, that we're not ready for this thing already. Like, just because we had just started doing the home haunt big again for 2008, 2009, 2010. And then we got this email. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. And I just kind of like I we would literally like Zach and I don't argue much, but we were like yelling at each other, like disagreeing. So we finally did it. But like the biggest change, like we mentioned, is the actors and dealing with actors. So we won't like go a lot into that again. But then like we learned quickly what the fire marshal and building inspectors wanted. And what they were willing to overlook. And we learned quickly tips and tricks of like this fire inspector, she has 2 daughters that are in like soccer. Let's talk about soccer the entire time she's walking through the maze. Fire inspector's 4'4". Let's we don't have to worry about hiding wires up high as much because she's short. She doesn't just point at things on the ground. Oh, look at all the fire extinguishers we have on the ground. So she's looking down.
So you're learning to work it.
Yeah, but some things like that like we do are like everything is ADA. We have to make sure it's ADA. We're always walking through the maze, kicking out the walls, making sure they're all right size. We do have the fire extinguishers everywhere. We have the emergency exits. We have the only thing we've only gotten dinged a few times for safety. Like some stuff is when like we've asked like for Hillbilly, could we do bales of hay, and like that's a complete no, like because. Yeah, you just can't put bales of hay. Like, and then a few other things. It's like, oh, fix this. Oh, we're not allowed to do spark fences. Like just with like the car battery charger or whatever. We can't do that because it just looks the whole rig looks too unsafe. So we got dinged for that a few years ago.
As far as so maybe there's a market for fake bales of hay as a product.
Yeah.
Do you got any emotional trick? Like when you push a button, the whole complete house stops and lights go on or something like that?
A kill switch.
We actually yes and no. For one of the mazes, when it was like darkness and then Tomb of Terror later, the pitch black maze, we would have emergency lighting in there to where if something happened, a lighting would switch on. But if there's an emergency, we can actually just go run down like part of the concourse where like the concessions are, run up a ladder, and we can turn on the actual stadium lights. And so if there's an emergency, we could do that if we wanted. Okay. And we actually had to do that once because an actor didn't realize that there was a big like circuit breaker thing. Was a transformer? Oh yeah, a transformer in his maze, and so he kicked it, and the cover of the transformer hit this nut, and a fuse, and sparks shot out. We lost power of the entire stadium. We had to evacuate the entire night and refund everyone. So this was our first year. We had to turn the lights on for that.
Damn, first year too.
It's so funny. I'm standing with the president of the stadium, like overlooking everything. We're kind of having like we're open. A moment. I'm like, look at what we created. Yeah. And then all of a sudden we hear boom, and everything goes off. And he goes, did the power just go out? And I said, Bruce, you're the fucking president. You tell me. And it did. So we had to like close on. And everyone was super pissed. And then some actors were like, oh, let's just keep scaring people. So they're chainsawing the crowds, and we had to kick kids out that night. And it's like, no, guys, emergency time.
Don't you train them for it when it happens?
Well, we train them like if there's an emergency, like where to meet, but we never had to bother like it was just one of those. It was our first year, and we didn't think we'd have to tell them if there's an emergency, don't scare people. But now like an emergency like that, we were never expecting the power to go out to the entire stadium because it's like it's a baseball stadium. Us having 5 mazes plugged in isn't that big of a deal compared to like the light baseball stadium lighting, but now because of like things actors have done like during our orientations, they get longer and longer every year because we have to add like don't do this because of one stupid thing people did the year before. Yeah,
we got some crazy things like playing code 1, code 2 or code 3 around the mazes. When it's a code 1, it's a quiet evacuation. Code 2 is a quicker one. Code 3 is a fucking emergency. Get the hell out.
Everybody grab a chainsaw. We're getting everybody out.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, though. And I imagine, with him saying it's the first year, I'd imagine those things have developed. But you guys have got such a unique situation because you still have the stadium management and everybody else that this is their facility, so they're still working it, and they, like you said, they're paying all of the other staff that's associated with the stadium, and I don't know. I guess you just got to learn how to play ball, so to speak, with those guys and how to interact. So
yeah, I mean, we still battle with the keeping crew because it's like our haunt stuff is too close to their lawnmowers. It's like, and we get yelled at. I mean, we've already gotten yelled at this year for making a mess. It's like, and so we're constantly
trying to make everyone happy.
Yeah, but our first year, we were scared shitless to sit down and talk to all these people. But then, they're all really cool, and a lot of them are close personal friends now.
Yeah,
and so now we
cool.
get when we bring new people in, we get to be on the other side of the table and give like other people the shakedown, and that's really fun.
Yeah.
That sounds
Now
good.
going back to the fire retardant guys or the fire code. When you guys did your home haunt, did you guys ever have the fire marshal come out to you guys?
Nope. We had nothing. If that maze would have gone up, our parents' house would have been lost. Like the most we had was like, well, we're gonna leave the garden hose like attached, and people are just gonna walk around it. Like it would have been bad. I mean, we used bales of hay, we used jute erosion cloth, we used shitty wallpaper. I mean, like
Pallets.
Pallets. It was a powder keg.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's as far as emergency exits. How far are you supposed to put them apart?
Technically, like the law is every 40 feet, but we kind of just know like where the fire marshal expects them. So it's like if you're walking along, it's like I feel like we need an exit. We usually just put one. So we usually have 2 or 3 per maze, and they're like, okay, cool, like you guys are fine.
Yeah. Typically with the maze, how it actually kind of works out is we have our rectangle of a maze. It's like we have our entrance and exit on like the bottom of it, and then we have emergency exit, 2 up on the top, and then 2 on the side, 1 on each side. So there's essentially 6 exits per maze is kind of what we're allowed to do, and everyone's okay with it.
Do you have to pay the fire marshals or the city or anything for their time for coming out?
That's a good question, actually.
No, we don't have to pay them. They're done. It's all owned. They're all work for the city, and the stadium's owned by the city, so we don't have to pay for them to come out. We do have to pay though for the actual fire retardant
And the certificate.
and the certificate. And if we want a guy to spray it for us, we have to pay for that, and we let him spray it for us. So like,
we're not liable.
We're not liable. So if something catches
okay.
it, we're like,
What does something like that cost? Like getting
How
the
much was it the first year?
the first year it was like $2,500 to have him spray everything.
Wow.
And this is something that we learned that first year too. Say you have a wall panel, and then you have just say like wallpaper on it, and then you have a prop on top of that, and you have all these layers. They ideally what they would need to do is spray each of those layers, because like we had the wall panel, and then curtain, and then like we had like a camo netting, and so like, he literally had to like unstaple the camo netting to spray the curtain, unstaple the curtain to spray the wall panel. Yeah. But the benefit is though, like he went through and like all these different pieces of material he stapled a little card to, so when the fire marshal walked, like she didn't have to flame test. She could just see there's these little fire tech cards that are stapled to everything that's material.
Oh, so they'll actual flame test it otherwise.
Yeah. I mean, we've never had a flame test. We've just heard horror stories about flame tests.
So does that coincide from year after year after year, or is it something that has to be done no matter what? Let's say that you take that material down. Let's say it's curtains. So you take that down for the year and you store it and you bring it back up. I don't know what the lifespan of fire retardant is. I would imagine once it's coated, but is that something that has to be redone year after year?
I don't know the lifespan either. Technically, yes, it should, but we don't. We just leave the little card stapled, and then we just print out that certificate and change the date.
Yeah, we cheated.
And be like, it was sprayed. Like we're fine.
You do know that we're live.
That wasn't an us thing, though. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay.
That's just a thing that happens.
I was just curious because I wasn't sure how that works, especially because most hunts aren't up year, for the entire year. You take it down, you put it away, and you bring it back up, and some of that material is going to be sprayed, some of it's not. You add new stuff, and it just goes back and forth.
From experience, though, like our first year when we had that fire, for those who know that, we the 2 rooms in between, like we had the fire in the scarecrow room, and then the 2 adjacent rooms didn't catch because that stuff was it got sprayed with flame retardant the year prior, and it didn't light. It all melted like it was supposed to. So I do know it does last, but we don't know if we're supposed to get it redone every year or not.
Gotcha.
What about? Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask you. I was curious since we're talking about all the flame retardant and insurance, kind of plays a part in that too. Does the stadium carry the rider for the insurance, or is that something that you guys have to do?
Yep, it's all stadium. I mean, like
Okay,
when people talk to us about going pro, and we tell them like our gig, it's like people are almost like, screw the Bloodshed Brothers. They didn't really go pro because they didn't have to do all this. so my advice to people is like find someone that is.
Oh, so you got the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like find someone, find a situation that they are wanting to do something like this, and just do it for them, and then let them handle all that nasty stuff.
Yeah, I've
Plus, you got the
said-
storage.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it makes a lot more sense to me if you want to go pro to find like someone with the location, with maybe someone who already gets people coming there.
Yeah.
Let them, and then you just do the creative end as much as
Yeah.
you can, anyways. You know?
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
better.
we're learning the aspects of it. Like, we're trying to get our foot in there, so we the day we actually do leave the stadium, whenever that happens, we won't just be like the people who know how to set up wall panels. We can know the business aspect of it more too. So.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
So as much as you talk to the new guy that's in marketing, that's the best thing you can do. That's your best asset. That's your college course in marketing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That guy's super cool too, because he actually sat and talked with us. He goes, "What are your guys' ideas?" And that's never happened before, where they asked us what our ideas on marketing was, because it's crazy. We actually kind of know what we're talking about every once in a while, so people are always surprised.
What do you do for the marketing side to get people to the stadium?
We have our best. I think our best marketing is we have 2 local Costco's, one in Lake Elsinore, one 15 minutes south in Temecula, and we sell VIP tickets there. They set up a whole display. So Costco is huge for us. And then we have last year they built an electronic billboard for the stadium. So when we're open, that's on the electronic billboard. We usually have paid for billboards in the past. We have hijacked on the road signs that are housing developments that never got built that are all just shut. We KB homes. We climb up, we open them, we staple big banners to them, but we got told we weren't allowed to do that anymore. We got a cease and desist order from the city.
You know what? It's better to do it and ask for forgiveness than permission.
Absolutely.
So and then we've done Facebook in the past. We're doing Facebook in this year. We do radio. Well, we get 50,000 flyers printed up that we have actors go and distribute places. We didn't do this past year, but our first 2 years we did Papa John's. They did coupons on their box tops.
Oh, okay.
They had 50,000 box tops going out, and it had coupons for pizza, but then it had a little coupon $2 off to come to the haunt. And then they fed our actors every Thursday night.
That's good.
Then
that is good. That's funny because somebody had just I just watched a post and I can't remember where it was located on Facebook. That was one of the things that they were talking about is to contact your local either pizza places or restaurants or what have you, because that's a huge deal, is get those sponsorships from those people, because the fact that they could feed them, in return for their free sponsorship, is that, hey, feed our actors.
Yeah.
And God, you don't even think about that, so that's a big deal. Yeah.
I think I will steal that idea from you.
We've talked a lot about actors, but Logan Roush wants to know, you've had a lot of volunteers helping throughout the years, but does the stadium give you helpers on builds and stuff, or are you just all using volunteers for that?
We have the event guy, and we have a few higher ups that help us, but they usually just give us all their interns that aren't getting paid, and they're stuck with us until we're done. When we actually are setting up the mazes, when not decorating and sound and lighting and stuff, but when we're actually just putting up the wall panels, we'll have maybe an extra 7, 8 stadium staff, the grounds crew and the operations manager, the interns, usually the GM of the stadium, and then our event guy, and then we'll have our volunteers help too.
Wow, so they just hate you, because otherwise they could just take it easy because baseball season's over. And
and
they're
then
God, look at these guys.
And there's this one intern named Pat who we just fucked with so much last year. We made a video where we scared him in a big costume. We put a Froggy's Fog scent cup, we hid it in his office. The slaughterhouse scent. I wish we would have filmed his reaction, but he was so mad. He's screaming in the stadium.
Dude, it was so you guys at Transworld, wasn't it?
That's not us.
Even I know. So
we're on the other side of the stadium, and we hear Pat cussing, and the echo and the wind is bringing it to our side. And we're like, oh, I guess he found it. And he's not an intern anymore, but we still tell him shut up, intern. We just call him the intern all the time.
Oh wow.
Hey Logan, you better jump in, man. Ain't no one gonna shut up. You gotta jump in. You gotta grab it.
I gotta grab it like a sack. No, I got a question.
So
you guys,
gently,
since
you
you guys
mean?
have had this YouTube, gently and caressing with 2 hands. No, since you guys have had this YouTube, blog and everything, have you guys had offers since you guys have gone pro to like maybe jump ship to somewhere else, or has that not happened yet?
We had it once. We had an offer. I don't remember what haunt it was or who said it, but they wanted us to go work on to the East Coast, work at a haunt over there. They were gonna start like a haunt internship sort of thing. It was gonna be like room and board, and we would help them build their haunt, and like they groom us for management, that sort of thing. And like it was our first year at the stadium, and we decided not to go because we wanted like the poor actors that have been with that stadium for 6 or 7 years. Like every year it's someone new, so we kind of like we felt like we owed it to them to stick around and to try to build this thing.
And plus, it was the first time. It's like, well, shoot, we made a little bit of money doing haunted houses for once. So it's like, why would we go take this? Why would we go move to the East Coast and then come back and then now we don't have a haunt at all?
Yeah, it could have been a good learning experience, but we didn't want to walk away from the haunt because it was so new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the only time we've been like offered.
It gets really
Cameron-
really cold on the East Coast, so that sucks.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but when you guys, but I mean like
You can
when
close
we're
stuff
doing,
down pretty quick.
When we're having our 115-degree build days over summer, and like we're just like we're completely envious of everyone else in the country, because it's like we do not like our breaks. It's literally like we'll build for 30 minutes and then we'll go sit an hour in the shade, and then we'll build for 30 minutes and go sit an hour in the shade. It's crazy.
Brad, you had a question?
You guys,
Got tons of them here.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead,
So
Logan. Go ahead, Logan.
you were trying.
Go ahead, Logan.
I was just gonna say, when you guys first started, how easy was it for you guys to like come up with ideas for a haunt? Instead of having like cliche like clown houses or anything like that right off the bat. Like, how hard was it to come up with ideas?
From
the
like
home
the home haunt to see, like the thing with the home haunt was we were trying to find a theme that we could would encompass everything, so we could still have like, because we had a clown room, we had like a butcher room, we had like a seance room and a library and a doll room and like this weird bug room thing. So we were trying to figure out like what's a good story that we could like mash it all together. And then we went to our first West Coast Haunters convention, and I took a class by Dana Martin, and she writes haunted house backstories.
And she works at Talladega Frights.
Yeah, and so I'm feverishly writing all these really good notes, and then at the end of the seminar, she goes like, "Oh, and by the way, you can pay me, and I'll write a backstory for you." I wadded up my notes, and I'm like, "You and I gotta talk.
You burned my money.
Take my money." And she wrote a really cool backstory for us called the High Street Massacre. And it's still on our website, and it's still like our baby. So we did that at our home hunt for 2 years. Then when we did the stadium, we did the High Street Massacre, but like on the pro scale. And but we haven't done it since, because now we change things every year to get people to come back, because we found that changing the theme every year, like being able to advertise 5 new mazes every year, is what really gets people to come back. So we're still gonna do Hyde Street, and like our dream haunted house is still Hyde Street, but for now it's just on the back burner until
How much did it cost to get the backstory? I mean, if you don't mind me asking.
She charged us $400 to write I don't remember how many words it was, but like we didn't even pay for it. Our neighbor next door, like he was so into the haunted house, he was like, "I'll pay for it," and so he paid for it.
Yeah, because we were saving up, because like obviously we couldn't drop $400, and so we were like we'll just start saving up, and like we'll have her write it real quick, and then our neighbor's like, "Well, we'll just pay for it." Like, sweet.
And so once we paid her, I spent like 2 hours on the phone with her just talking about the haunt and the vision, and like a week later she has this really cool story for us to use.
She's pretty amazing. I've heard her on several of the different podcasts, and I mean, some of the stuff that she comes up with is just, I mean, it is amazing. I mean, it's a novel at that point for the backstories.
And real quick shout out to Dana. If you ever have a chance to take her like her haunt actor or haunt like mom seminars where she tells you how she treats her actors,
it's crazy.
She's like a god. She's like the Alan Hops of treating people well.
Yeah.
It is like she's telling us all these things at West Coast. I'm like, oh my god, you're a genius.
We just need to be nice to the high schoolers and they'll stay. What?
Like she hasn't had to kick out an actor in over 2 years. And she doesn't have people quit. She makes working at her haunt so fun that they are scared to get in trouble.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Nice.
that's nice.
This rarely happens, but I'm gonna answer one of the questions myself. Chem Spider says, question: are you ever worried about bed bugs or other insects when you go dumpster diving for old furniture? I am now.
Wow, good point. Yeah, it's like
But on a more serious note, another question for the brothers: when you went pro, did you have to start from the ground up, or did past haunters leave things like panels and stuff for you?
When we started, we came in and there was pretty much wall panels and like some specialty lighting, you know,
and some few distortion props.
and a few distortion props. But aside from that, that was it. Like, and there was like that was like one of our complaints when we did that review the year before we started working there was like there's just empty. I mean, there was empty walls. They were just painted. Like the clown maze wasn't anything spectacular. Like, and same thing with like the slaughterhouse. Like there wasn't anything crazy amazing in it. And so yeah, I mean, when we got hired, they saw the benefit of like we hire these two guys, we get obviously double the work, but we get their entire haunted house full of shit. And we have been collecting for 10 years, so like mostly everything behind the scoreboard now is things Zach and I own. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this. That brings me to another point. Is anything done at your house, or at least, well, your parents' house, because you don't live there anymore? But is anything done there at all anymore?
My mom decorates a little bit, but and she'll sew costumes at the house. My dad will load up like our truck and we'll go take some like wood to him and he'll go build wall panels in the garage, you know, just so he doesn't have to do it in the sun.
But as far as decorations, nothing really.
Yeah.
Wow. Have you got any backlashes? I mean, other people come up. I mean, it's been, well, you said 4 years now since you've been in the stadium?
Yeah,
That's amazing. I can't believe it's already been 4 years. But I mean, do you have people coming up going, hey, where's
it's like National Lampoon's Vacation? Hollywood.
Not anymore. We did the first year, a few people, but not anymore.
But we actually there's this one couple that comes with their two kids every year, and
you guys get the box of tissues.
And they used to drive past our house on the way home from school because there's an elementary school by our house, and their kids just loved. They were too little to go in, but they loved the home haunt, and their parents loved the home haunt. They went for the 3 years we did it at our parents' house, and then they've been driving to the stadium every year, and every year they've been wanting to talk to us. Finally, last year they ran into us, and they thanked us for doing this, and their kids love it now, and they come every year, and they're such huge fans of our haunt. And I'm just like, shut the fuck up, guys! You're gonna make me cry. And their son like draws haunted house pictures all year, and he wants to like give them to us, and I'm like, no, like give them to us. Like those are probably some of the best ideas. It's like, you know, let's have a weird little kid that likes haunted houses like design haunts for us. So it's crazy. And that rarely happens. Other than that, like I think we see 2 or 3 neighbors, and we can't even get some of our friends we've known since like first grade to come to the haunt because and one of them lives like a mile from the stadium, and they're just like, nope, not our thing. Sorry. Yeah.
Dang.
Now, some of the time while you've been talking, Jose has been trying to pop up a few different pictures from some of the past haunts and whatnot. And for instance, like this one here, this is from the stadium.
Wow, loving the details.
I hope it is.
Yeah. Stadium. That was our first High Tree Massacre that we did.
See, that blows my mind. The amount of detail that you guys go into, and the amount of material you have to collect just to create just that one, 10-foot span.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And see, the thing is though, it's like compared to some other haunted houses, like that's not even detailed to the point where Zach and I are happy with it. Because like
I'm not happy with
we
that.
literally have like so much. We don't have a lot of time to like. We get maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks per maze. And it sucks. Like we can make it look cool and we can pile our crap in there, but like the walls aren't painted exactly how we want it. But that's just us complaining. But yeah, we've been collecting for so long. We look like hoarders, and it sucks.
Is most of your stuff from thrift shops?
Thrift shops and garage sales, yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of my.
Did you guys learn? I was gonna say, did you guys learn how to like detail the rooms from like going to like? You guys said that you had learned how to do the backstories and stuff like that. Did you learn the details from that too, or was that just more of a trial and error?
Both. We did take a scenic painting class our first year at the West Coast Harness Convention. But yeah, and then it was kind of like just like I kind of like that look. Like we're just finding it was like on Haunt Forum and Halloween Forum, like finding pictures that we liked. It's like let's try to make the walls like look like that, and that's how we kind of started aging stuff.
Okay.
Very cool.
So with your agreement with the stadium, you guys are out shopping routinely and picking up new props and changing the mazes. With the agreement, is that your property, or does that become their property, or how do you distinguish one from the other?
If we spend the money and it's ours, unless we want to. If we go to like Lowe's and buy like $50 worth of hardware and like rollers and paint and stuff, we could keep it if we want, but we can save the receipt and we give the receipts to them at the end and we get reimbursed. Yeah, but typically if we any of like the props and decorations, those are ours because we bought them. Yeah, like if we could afford to buy like a really cool Scare Factory prop, like that would be ours, but we can't.
Okay.
Do you guys have any tips, or what's your top secret places that you go to get materials?
Graveyards.
Oh well, actually,
I'm not cutting foam. I'm just taking this.
The Habitat for Humanity was probably our biggest one. Has the Restore, and it's like like a discount. Hardware store.
That's a great place.
Yeah, we've got one here too. It's awesome.
Yeah, so we spent a lot of money there, but now it's like because the mazes aren't getting ridiculously bigger, we only go out shopping when we need to like replace like a table or something. Maybe an actor broke. We have so much dang furniture and tables and little lamps that we're coming out of our ass with them. So but yeah, the Restore is our biggest one, and then we do a lot of thrift stores. My least favorite thrift store is Salvation Army because they're the most expensive around here. It's honestly ridiculous. And then like they're depending on the area, some thrift stores are cheaper than others. And then garage sales, depending on the area, some are cheaper than others. Like if we want to find cool old furniture, we have to drive 30 minutes to Hemet. If we want newer shit, we'll stay in Temecula and pay a little more for it because Temecula's not that old. So
if you want good garage sale prices, I find you got to find old people. Like
yes.
Yes.
Young people want fair value for everything, and old people trying to get rid of it.
No, we're always asking my mom. It's like, well, what should we put on this thing? We don't know, and she'll say, oh, we'll just put a quarter on it, and we're like, are you kidding me? We'll put $1 on that. What do you mean a quarter?
Yeah, that's all there. Well, one of the strangest places that I've seen somebody go to and find props was from Dark Rose Manor. We were talking to Pandora Rose, and we know how creative she is, and she actually goes. I didn't know they had a roadkill facility. I didn't know that they had a road. There's like a pot where they take all the roadkill and they dump all this, animal stuff and everything like that. They dump in this pile, and apparently they get first picks at that. And then they take peroxide and boil these things down and just like bleach the bones, and it's like there is that, and I mean that's another. I guess that's
great.
I don't even know what to say about that, but
you know what? That is haunting on a budget stream right there. That is what that is. Yes.
Like budget.
The cost of some peroxide, some time, and maybe some nose plugs, and you are good to go. Because you got some cool ass shit out of that.
Their whole backyard's full up of like riding.
Now, do you guys have like a favorite haunt?
In the world? Okay, well no, my favorite haunt in California, besides for our own,
the whole universe,
is Sinister Point. But my favorite haunt in America that I've ever been to is 100 Acre Manor in Pennsylvania. Yeah. We went on a haunt tour there, and we were just blown the fuck away. It was so fun and so good. Yeah.
Is there a haunt that you guys want to see, or you'd like to make your way out there and check out?
I've always wanted to go to the House of Shock, but I've heard they're closing. Yeah.
Yep, they are closing.
So that sucks. And I can't think of anything else. Cutting Edge Haunted House in Texas, I wanted to go to. Yeah. I wanted to
go to the Northeast.
Yeah. Yes, I wanted to. I wanted to go when Quan from Darkland opened up a haunt in China. I wanted to go to that, but I hear it's closed now. So because we wanted to go to the Goratorium in Vegas, but we were like 4 months shy of visiting Las Vegas to go see that before that closed down. Haunted Overload. Man, those pictures. Like sometimes like I look at pictures of other haunters and I'm like, Zach and I look like we have Down syndrome compared to some of these guys.
Now.
Zach and I are cruising Downstown and all these guys are like doing these amazing things.
Hey, this November, if you're not going to MHC, save your funds. This November, you can go on the Haunt Tour. Haunted Overload is on it, plus some other amazing ones up in Northeast.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Legendary Haunt Tour.
Yeah, there it is, the Legendary Haunt Tour. I was trying to remember the name of it earlier. Wow. So, and then that way you can visit Ray because he's up there in New Hampshire.
He's yeah.
So
what guy?
We've had this question for other pro hunters we've had on. Do you guys still follow home haunts at all on YouTube?
Yes. Oh yeah, I will. I will try. I don't know about you. We don't watch YouTube videos together, so. But I mean, yeah. Whenever there's any hunter video, like I'll try to watch it. Yeah, and if you have a haunted house video on your channel, we subscribe. The only home hunt we made it out to last year was Hollywood Haunter because
Perdition Home.
Oh, and Perdition Home. We made this crazy one night trip. We went to Rob Zombie in Pomona. We shot off to Hollywood Haunter. We went down to Sinister Point and then over to the Queen Mary in one night, and it was crazy. Yeah.
Is there a prop that you guys have been dying to, build or buy? You guys.
There is this prop from Poison Props that I've wanted for years now. It's just this. They don't have it on the show floor anymore, but it's still on their website. It's this little girl. She comes out of a closet with a knife. And she's just stabbing and teddy bear, and she's just shaking her head. And I'm in love with this little girl, and it is such a cool prop. I want it so bad. I'm a big fan of Poison Props. Like every year on the show floor, I'm like, I just take my money, people. Like I love their stuff.
Yeah, they have a great display. Transworld, their stuff was awesome.
Yeah.
What's the biggest prop you built yourself?
I think the Moonshine. Oh yeah, we built this Moonshine still fountain thing. It was with this giant cast iron bathtub that takes 3 people to lift. We took these 55-gallon drums, we put them up on these platforms, we connected them all together, we put a fountain pump in the bathtub, and it looked like whiskey was coming out. And so our actor would be like, "You guys want some shine?" And he'd like splash water on people as they walk by, and that was probably the biggest thing we've ever built last year. This year though, fun fact about us this year, there's a lot of stuff that you guys have no idea what we have not shared a thing with you guys. The biggest thing we built, you guys haven't seen yet. It's gonna be fucking crazy. What do you?
But.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no whispering, man.
Yeah. But
don't make friends.
The biggest thing that we've ever had though that wasn't that we didn't build, but because we've teamed up with another company now because they have like a shit ton of props and they're letting us use them is we had an elevator ride last year in our hotel and that was insane. It's like all of a sudden we've gone from not having cool things to having a coffin ride and having this elevator simulator that was really cool. Yeah. So shout out to John and his family from Twisted Scare because they're essentially that's just a quick note about Jeremy and I. We always had the hardest time letting people in creatively with us. We tried it our first year. We wound up firing the guy, and so this past 2 years we brought this other team in with us, and it's like a third bloodshed brother to us. So we're in sync with each other. We always agree or disagree on the same stuff. It's amazing. So yeah, and especially this year, it's like all of our ideas are combined as opposed to last year where it's like, okay, they're doing their thing, we're doing our thing. This year it's going to be just insane, hopefully.
Yeah, I wish I had one person like that. That'd be awesome.
I know.
You need to have people like that.
Speaking of being in sync, I'm sure everybody knows this about me, but are you guys twins?
Yes. What?
I've seen your videos before. It just never occurred to me that you're twins before.
Zach, go put a bra on.
No.
Yeah, put a bra on. Let's see the resemblance.
Or better yet, Jeremy should put a shirt on. That way we can.
So that way you guys can all stop staring at his chest. Whoever said I dare you to wear it the whole time shouldn't have said it. Because
sorry. On that same vein, Chem Spider has a question for you guys. Does one of you ever come up with something that's too twisted or sadistic, and the other brother has to dial you back?
Okay, well, the last time it happened, it wasn't like a dial it back. It was like it was so outrageous that I knew it wasn't going to happen. But I want to have this scene where there's a lady up on a table and her legs are spread and
We
she's
knew it was about lady.
she has like a dead fetus in her hand and it's still attached to her hoo-ha and she's eating the fetus. I think that'd be so fucking cool.
Okay, wait a minute.
Explain to me where the hoo-ha is.
Then apparently, okay, Zach and Jeremy, now, of course, you're not going to MHC this year, which is okay because they're not on the tour, but apparently you have not been to the Haunted Hoochie. We've already talked about some of the different places that you should be. Yeah. If you want to learn about sacrificial dead fetuses and everything else, and want to go to a haunt that will just blow your mind, you've got to go out to the Haunted Hoochie.
But when it comes to like Zach and I, it's like agreeing or disagreeing. And it's so weird how it works. It's like people, like the outside people, will you guys stop arguing. We're not arguing. We're having a heated discussion. It's like Zach will say something and I'll say something. I'll think whatever he said is the dumbest thing in the world.
Vice versa.
And vice versa. And then what ends up happening, it's a weird mix, love child of our ideas, and then the rooms turn out super awesome. So I don't know, for the last 14 years, we argue about it first. I don't know why we just don't be like, okay, instead of arguing, let's just do both. No. We always argue about it first, and I'm like, okay, let's do both. Every time.
And you guys are like the Coen brothers of the haunting world. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
So Zach and Jeremy, with you guys, I forgot my question now.
I'll take your beer.
With all the logistics that you guys have to do with your haunt and everything, do you guys still get to put as much time into the design and build of the haunt itself, or do you find your guys in the background doing all the the management and the logistics and all that?
Both, but I mean, we can design. We could start designing mazes November 1st if we wanted to. And so this year we pretty much had a rough idea around January, and then especially by March, so we had an idea of what we would want to buy at Transworld. And so right now today, all the mazes are designed. Essentially, they could be built tomorrow if the stadium would let us. They're all designed. We know what props are going where. We know what music and it's all done. But to that though, it's because we're so busy dealing with all of the other stuff. Yeah, it's not the haunts don't look as cool as we want them to. We don't get to spend as much time as we did at the home haunt, because I watched the 2009 walkthrough a few days ago and I'm like, oh my god, this looks so good. What happened? And it's we just don't have the time anymore, and it sucks.
So you guys design all the mazes and everything. So do you delegate other people to actually build them for you, or
When it comes time to build, because we designed it, us two and our friend John now, we all designed them. When it comes time to building, Zach, me, and John are the keepers of the map, as we call it. So it's double-sided wall panel here, okay, then a single-sided, and then you're going to make a left turn here, and so that's our job during the actual build. And then when it's the creative decorating stuff, we sometimes let some of the kids do their own thing. It's oh, we have a cool idea for this room, or we think this room should look like this, and we're have fun, because we're so busy. It's as long as it doesn't look like shit, have fun. And so that's kind of how we do that.
As far as planning for you guys, do you guys plan to make it handicap accessible at all, or do you just go with making it, a random width?
It's all ADA. We walk through with we just cut a 2x2, to the 44 inches or whatever. And we'll walk down the wall, down and make sure all the wall panels are lined up. And yeah, we have to have the turning radius be the 4 feet and everything. Yeah, because we'll have a wheelchair, someone in a wheelchair come at least once a year. So.
Okay. How far are you going with the planning? To what kind of detail? Like the actor planning? Do you give them all the names? Do you write the backstory for the actors, or? How deep is the planning go, and how does the documents look when you do something like it?
When it comes to what's on paper, it's just down to the props and what's on the walls. When it comes to the actors, it's kind of hard for us, because I like when the actors, instead of giving them all a backstory, because there's a lot and it's hard for us to do that, I like to tell them what the feel of the room is. So in this room it should feel angry, or this room it should feel sad, or this room it should feel crazy. But we don't know that until we walk through the mazes ourselves when they're up and there's music on and stuff. So by the time we have our dress rehearsal, that's when I can tell the actor, like, here's your room, here's the spaces you can use, here's the feeling that I want, or that we want, and that's how we usually do it with the actors.
Do you guys ever want to quit? You know what I'm saying? Do you ever just go like this, like, man, that's it, I'm done, I don't want to do it no more?
All the time. Yeah. like there are some days where it's like, God, I miss the home haunt, and then there are some days where it's like, these little shits. You know, I'm so done with people and volunteers. But then there's the other times where it's like, you know,
Which are the majority of the times.
which you're in an entire empty baseball stadium on a Saturday. Like, it's just me and Zach in an entire baseball stadium, and it's quiet. You hear like the music from the mazes running, and the fog machine's going, and you're just sitting down and you're like looking around, being like I did all this. That's like probably one of the best parts. Like,
and then you know, like nights where like a maze is completely like on point. You know, because like they're all kids. You know, some of them aren't going to do as good as others, but like when like once every you know full moon, like one maze is just like, holy crap, like that was scary as shit. Like that's when it's really good.
How much time you guys? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say, how much time do you guys put into social media in a day? With YouTube, Twitter, Facebook.
Too much. Like I've heard like from a lot of pro hunters, they're like, I don't know how you guys do it. Like it's been told like you should hire that stuff out, but I can't trust people like I feel to do that. So it's like it sucks having to take the time, like when you're in the middle of, you know, your hunt being open, and it's like it sounds amazing and it looks amazing, and you have to take the time to just, you know, like pull out your phone and you're standing there, you're taking a picture, you're Instagramming, you're tweeting, you're uploading YouTube videos. It sucks and it takes a lot of time, but it's just kind of what you got to do.
How long does it take to edit one of your YouTube videos?
It depends. If it's like we'll kind of try to film throughout the day to where we don't have to edit as much, you know.
We've gotten really good at not having to edit.
We've gotten really good at not having to edit much. So yeah, I mean, if it's like it's either like we're gonna put it on YouTube or we're not. We're not gonna like edit a clip up. Like it's like Jeremy's gonna cuss and wear a bra or he's not, and then we'll either we'll put the clip online or we'll just delete the entire clip. Like,
hey, a quick note. I like got my drink and my wife come in. She's like, that guy's fucking wearing a bra. I'm like, yes, he is.
Better yet, does Margaret remember them from Trans World? That's even.
She's like,
oh, I remember. I've got pictures with them, but I don't remember them.
And it was so funny. She has no idea. She's like, "What the hell?"
We discussed it before we discussed it before the show, but everyone's gonna want to know. And Jamie Huggins asked, "Are you guys going to MHC?"
No, not this year. Maybe next year. We were saying it's either
tried to tell him.
It's either go to haunt conventions or pay rent, and so yay, we're not homeless.
Yeah. So if somebody wants to pay their rent for the month so they can get to MHC, then there you go.
I'm gonna completely level with you guys, okay? The night before we left for West Coast, our power got shut off because we forgot to pay the electric bill. So obviously it's back on, but that was a costly mistake. Yeah. So you know, like we're not rolling in, we're not living the high life over here. The Fletcher brothers are definitely not living the high life.
But you are living the life, though.
You don't even have a blouse to go over that bra, so we understand.
I know.
Yeah.
They took the blouse off.
I have a nightgown. I can put on a little nightie.
And the fact that he stole the bra from Zach's girlfriend, I mean, he can't even afford his own bra.
My question goes out to everyone actually on the panel. When you guys try to make a haunt, you know, in your backyard or whatever, how big do you guys try to make all your haunts, you know, or what's too big to, you know, for people to go through?
Nothing's too big.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. Pissing off your neighbors is too big.
Yeah.
No, I had two neighbors on both sides of me, and they both moved out the first year I was there.
Ooh.
First year they both moved out. I was like, is it because of me? And they're like, oh no. And then the next one moved out, and they're like, oh no. And I'm like, all right. And then I got the next neighbor that came in, and he's an older guy, and he's got like a young woman girlfriend or whatever, and he's always in the hot tub and this and that. And he's like, do you always like work on stuff back there? I'm like, I'm like, dude, it's like I don't do it past 8, so it's like I'm within. You know what I'm saying? I said, I could take down my privacy fence if you want, and he's like, no, you're good. I gotta like threaten the guy silently, because he likes to get in his hot tub with his girlfriend and all this shit. So I got a big privacy fence.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I said, my privacy fence looking pretty rough. I could probably take that down and stuff. He's like, well, that's a good haunt. I like that. And I'm like, okay, shut up. I get a lot of slack. I get a lot of slack from the neighbors next to me, but everybody else loves it.
The deal is you got to know your neighbors. You got to know how far you can go, and that's how far you go.
Yeah.
Or you just scare the shit out of them. Or you just say nothing.
Or you just move out. Or you just say move out then.
Yeah. And now this might be a good transition right now, especially since we're talking about neighbors and different things that are happening. Maybe to hit up the guys here on what their experiences have been themselves, and we can start with Phil. I mean, he's kind of started this a little bit. I know he had some trouble last year, and maybe that's why he's posing the question of how big do you really go, and what are the effects when you do it. But Phil, if you want to take the time to talk a little bit about your own haunt and what your experience has been.
Yeah, definitely. Last year I did my first home haunt. I got the inspiration from everybody on YouTube. We were trying to be open, the whole month of October, but we opened, I think it was like the 15th or something. And we were able to be open those, I think it was like 2 weekends, and then the last weekend of Halloween, we ran into trouble. We tried being open, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And what I did was I contacted the local newspapers. We ended up actually getting called by the news because they wanted to do a story on my haunt. And I think the actual publicity of me trying to, get people to see my haunt and, try to get people to come and check it out kind of screwed me, because once the city saw that I didn't have a permit for my, building, they called it, they sent the fire marshal out. The fire marshal saw, one of those Home Depot cheap wires, they're like $2. They have like the 3 prongs that you could put on, or you could put 3 things into. And, he put a sign up saying, you are shut down for, until you can pass inspection. He basically, was like, I'm not trying to screw you here, I'm just trying to save the shirt that's on your back, because if you ever did catch a fire, or something, and people are trapped in there, you will get sued like crazy. So I understood where he was coming from, but at the same time, he was going to shut me down for Halloween. He wasn't even going to let me do anything. So I had to contact everybody in my family. I went to like every neighbor up the street asking for extension cords, because they have to be extension cords. And then actually on Halloween Day, the news came out and they did the story on it. So that's why this year I'm trying to get everything good, with the fire marshal. They're going to come out. I've got, plans already set up right here. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but I've already, you've already drew it up for them to see that. They need that. They need insurance, and they need, the permit and everything. So my plans are to, hopefully, get this haunt up this year and make it bigger than what it was last year. So.
And this is the haunt at your house?
Yeah, this is actually, if you were to look at the picture again, sorry to keep showing, but we work with about a 16-foot space, which is right from the garage, which is right here, and then this is the fence over here. So this is a 16-foot space, and then I go about, I think it's like 111 feet all the way down and up, and then we try to make it as windy as possible, and it takes about 15-20 minutes to go through.
That's nice.
That's a nice size right there.
Big,
yeah. So and people came out last year. They were all scared. They're like, this is just as good as Lake Compound's Haunted Graveyard. That's like a pro haunt that's in Bristol here, and they're like, it's just as good as that. It's, if not not better, but it's it's right up there with them. And I'm like, that's great praise. This is my first year doing it. I was pretty happy about it. So.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
While we have you on, Phil, Sherry Ramsey wants to know what type of light is used to light the skull behind you.
It's actually, I think, just the normal. I don't even know. I bought it at CVS with 50% off. So.
Oh, okay.
I think it's an LED. It
There you
seems
go,
like a
Jerry.
normal red LED.
It's an impressive 50% off CVS
Yeah.
purchase.
Right.
Now these things, these are expensive though. Whew.
Oh yeah, your mask, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe as we go to each of you, you can tell us what turned you on to the Bloodshed Brothers, since that you're all kind of here because
Good
of that.
question.
Okay.
Good question. Somebody start.
Phil,
Phil.
we were with you, Phil. So
What's that? Oh, I would say, when I saw the videos of you guys having your home haunt, I was like, and especially the front where you guys had your graveyard and the lighting, I thought that was so cool, and then I looked at my house and I was like, you know what, I could do that myself. So, that's how I kind of got you guys to, like, be my inspiration. That's what I liked about you guys, and, that's how I basically did it,
excellent.
Well, I mean, actually, to be honest with you, they were actually the first people I started watching, and I'm like,
Yeah.
they're doing a Halloween. They're just like you or me. They got a pro on. I was like, I can do that. And I'm like, they just. I mean, I just watched them every day. I mean, I don't watch so much like the day to day, but as soon as they go into haunt mode, then I'm like I was totally into it. I mean, I was at work on break watching them every damn day and stuff and this and that. I mean, and now it's like I'm like almost 50, I'm like these like young kids, so it's kind of.
I know. That's why
it's kind of weird to talk about it. It's kind of weird to talk about it, but.
Yeah, 4 years at the stadium. I'm thinking, shit, that just seems like it was last year, and that was it.
Yeah.
I remember the very first. When I got turned on,
they were the first ones that.
Oh yeah, when I got turned on to YouTube
watching.
and I'm sitting there flipping through, and I came across these guys, and the very first video I remember, they were out. I'm trying to remember. I'm old now, so, but was them out front, and if I recall, they were doing like a burnt skeleton on how to deal with this burnt corpse.
That was our 4th of July video. Yeah.
Was it? Okay. Damn, they even know. They looked at. They even know which video it was. But that was probably the very first video that I remember watching of the Bloodshed Brothers, and watching this, going, oh, cool, and just kind of flipping through from there. But
and real quick on that video, like when we were done with that proper, like, God, like that turned out really cool. Like, we were really surprised on like how cool, and it's all falling apart now.
But we still have it.
But bits and pieces of it are like in our boxes of bones. So like that prop is still like in our haunt in certain places.
Well, I'm glad that it was a cool video that I found, so I could at least been turned on. And
no, my favorite video is the what would a haunter say? That is got to be the best video that you guys have put out. I mean, there's been other people that tried to duplicate it, but there's nothing that tops that, because everything that you were doing and did, I found myself doing the same fucking thing. I'm like, that is like, that's the funniest shit right there.
That takes a lot of time to put a video like that together, too.
Yeah, it took all day to do that one.
So, Jason, what turns you on? Hey, what turns you on besides the bra?
What does the show turn into? Finally, Diablo gets one drop of alcohol, and all of a sudden.
I felt like someone had a brick of kryptonite next to me, man. I wasn't feeling right at all, dude.
So in other words, Jason, we know that you're a newbie into the whole the community.
I think he's froze again.
Oh,
am I really?
Oh, you
visually,
are.
but not. We can still hear you, so you can.
Yeah, we get. You know what's better, because we only have audio.
Although you're frozen on not as happy a picture this time.
The last one was better.
Right, go to Dennis. And then...
All right, I'll come back.
Okay.
Okay, we'll jump back to. Well, hey, Dennis, you know what? This is a good point. We've got a good transition here. We're talking about several different things. I know a lot of people are very curious on how Halloween and the whole haunt thing is perceived in the Netherlands, and I would imagine, because it's such a big deal in the States, that, you know, between the Bloodshed Brothers and YouTube and all of the other internet access that you guys have, that's just spawned a whole nother aspect to what you guys do in Europe.
Right, and does everybody over there watch the Bloodshed Brothers? Does everybody in Netherlands know about them, or because of you don't have that much of a haunt? You know what I'm saying?
most of the people here are all focused on the Universal, the Busch Gardens, the Knott's, what those are doing. Many
Mhm.
people even don't know about home hunters. They don't know that pro hunts exist.
Ah.
It's
Wow.
really like, what the hell? If you start getting into it and you see what a big thing it's over there. For me, every time when I see something new, it's like, whoa, that's happening. People are doing that. It's so big, and here we got like, I think 300 houses in the Netherlands. That's about it,
Wow.
and most of
So
them
you got
are
the market. You got the market then.
Yeah.
yeah, but
You
Absolutely.
the
got it.
most of them are done by theme parks. That it's all
Okay.
started here like 12 years ago, 14 years ago, when Six Flags was here in the Netherlands. They were saying, here you got small budget, you need to do a haunted house. Before that, even Halloween wasn't known around here. So
Wow.
we got something like Sint Maarten, where people go with lanterns around the houses, but that
Mhm.
was it. That was some religious fest. But Halloween now starting to pick up. The last 5 years, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You start to see Halloween parties. You start to see things pop up. You start to see malls trying to do Halloween, but more for the kids, not for the adults.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So if you got a handful of American adults that love Halloween, we could really do some
yeah,
shit down there.
No kidding.
they,
Say
we
we
were
all move
lucky.
down there and take over a neighborhood.
Yeah, but we were really lucky. We asked for a landlord for a company that owns buildings around here. Hey, we want to do something like a Halloween haunted house. Can we use your old abandoned office building? And they were like, huh? What are you going to do? Yes, it's like a theater play interactive with small rooms carrying people.
That's
So we
awesome.
so we got the office building for free. That was lovely.
Oh
Wow.
We
yeah,
had like
That's
absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah, you
we
can't
had
beat
like
that.
the complete ground floor, and it was a cafeteria for, let's say, 600 employees a day. So we had all the space. We had the old offices in the back. We had the complete kitchen, everything already there. We used the room for the cafeteria just as as a main place, and then the old office buildings as one of the hunts, and the kitchen as the second hunt. So we done it with just friends of us. Everybody will like, you are crazy, you're going to do this. It will not work. And we had like 3,000 visitors, and we're like,
Did you
whoa,
really? Holy cow!
whoa, what happened here? It, it's crazy. We even got on national radio. It was like, what's happening here?
Yeah, you were enough of an oddball at that point that it drew everybody's attention. Like, what in
Yeah.
the world are you guys doing, and why are you doing it?
But
No, okay,
but we love it.
yes, but
They
we
love
love it. But and that's a good point because horror, the genre of horror crosses all boundaries. I mean, it doesn't matter where you're from. There is some type of horror. It doesn't matter whether you're Asian, Europe, the U.S. It does not matter. There's always some type of that genre exists, and
Because
everybody likes to be scared.
horror is big around here. People
Yeah,
love it. People like to see
yeah,
it, but they are not used to experience it.
yeah.
So
Which is good though, because like you said, you're on the cuff of things because
yeah.
you've begun it. You may be an innovator when it comes to the Netherlands on doing that
Mhm.
such a thing, which is not a bad thing if you're successful doing it.
So
Yeah.
we could pull off just black walls, skeletons, people in black suits, hockey masks, all those
Yeah.
typical things. We can pull it off, but we're like,
You don't do
no,
it.
we don't want to do it. We want to come with something creative. We want to tell a story. We want to do something, let people experience it, make people enthusiastic about it, and get more people into it. Let the industry grow around here.
That's right, and that's why we watch the Bloodshed Brothers and YouTube.
Yeah, I, I was But what happened is when I was researching, I also love to watch YouTube. I daily got a couple of feeds I'm following, and then I found the Bloodshed Brothers, and I was, hey, this is cool. I like to watch YouTube, and there's some people making vlogs about Halloween and about their haunted house and what they're doing and telling, and I was like, I'm loving what they do, so I subscribe to it, and I just watch daily when something's out.
I think I started watching them right at the actual haunt build, the first start of it. You know, I was like, man, they're like,
I think
build a haunted house.
For me, 2-3 years
ago, I was amazed. I didn't do it. So I was like, wow.
Yeah, during the build, I
Speaking
also found it.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I found them also during a build season. So I was like, wow, you're building this. Wow, you're doing that. Hey, how are you doing your auditions? Hey, what are you doing running it? How does the hunt looks? And it's like, for me, it's not that easy to come to the US to see things in person, but get a look inside of a hunt, how things work, how things running. It's really interesting for me. Interesting.
Do you find that the spectators that come visit your haunt, are the types of scares different from what you see when you watch the videos from the U.S.? Do you have to approach it differently, or can you do the same thing?
A little bit. It depends. It depends from the person, and what I've understand and what I've seen is that it's even different from here in the Netherlands than from Germany.
Oh, okay.
In Germany, they really like everybody to get touched. They just want to get touched.
I might have a ticket to Germany right now.
Yeah, don't we all love that?
Wait a minute, you got the red light district not too far from you. You're gonna tell me that people don't like to be touched?
Right. And now that Jason's back,
but
tell us how you got involved with the Bloodshed Brothers.
Well, like I watched the some of the past Hunters Hangouts, and these guys were on, and so I went and checked out their YouTube channel, and like I said,
that was a big panel that time. But we didn't get a lot of it.
No, that's right. You mean we were influential on something? We actually influenced you on something?
Absolutely.
And it was a positive thing?
Right.
Well, I had just joined up on the Hunters forum, and then that's how I found the Hunters Hangout, and then I watched that episode, and then I got on these guys' YouTube channel, and I literally spent a day just watching their vlogs, one right after another, and it was just really, it's really cool to watch them on a day-to-day basis do what they do, and they're you're likable guys, a lot of fun to watch, and so yeah, it's just a lot of fun, and yeah, enjoy watching you guys, and a lot of good information, and yeah.
We try.
Hey, one thing that always cracks me up more than anything is like every time Zach is like taping or something, and Jeremy always says, "Oh wait," gets that squirrel thing. Squirrel, it's like everybody's like, and he's like, "What? Really?" Looking like I'm in the middle of talking here. It's like it happens like every vlog.
Well, like what I have to say is usually more important.
Yeah.
Right. It's like you'll get right into the flow of something. He'll be like, "Hey, you see, there was a cat.
Yeah.
There's a squirrel right there." It's like,
Yeah.
I think another thing I've learned is is to learn how to frown. Every time I see every time I see you guys. Yeah.
I was like, what is up with that? It's like every picture from
I know, you know. My sister, she's into like a lot of YouTube stuff too, and she watches this weird girl called Miranda Sings. If you really want to go watch, it's fucking weird, but she does this frown, and so I picked it up from like hanging out with my sister. I thought it was funny, like her and I would take pictures like that, like just during the holidays and post them on Instagram and stuff, and then it just didn't go away. And then someone started a hashtag on Instagram before Transworld, so I was like, at Transworld, let's take grumpy pictures together, because I'm so vain. I'm like, I love that you can click on a hashtag with my name in it. There's like 60 pictures of people frowning.
I was like, we got grumpy cat over here. I wanted to post a picture of like I'm taking a picture with grumpy cat.
and then I've gotten into the habit of people like, why do you frown so much? I'm like, well, because there's nothing to smile about.
Guys, I did have a question for you though.
Yeah.
I want you to fill in the blank. All right. As a seasoned haunter, looking back, all the way back from the very beginning, from day one, I wish I would have done this from the very beginning.
Not started.
Been single. I wish I would have been single. I've wasted so much good hunt time on girls that didn't work out, and you know, it's like there's a lot of good-looking overage girls at the haunt too that you know, like I could have missed out on. So I wish I would have been single. Like that's my big thing.
Does overage mean like?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Not in high school.
An adult.
That adult. No, but like, because I don't know, I like
you're a dirty boy, Brad.
We just call them.
I've been with women like throughout the years that like are kind of cool with the haunted house stuff, and like it's not the reason why it didn't work, but it's just like they suck, you know. It's not as fun. I have to worry about them, so I'm glad I'm single this year and like stuff like that.
And I guess mine would be starting the vlog probably 2 or 3 years earlier.
Fuck my answer. That answer. Starting the vlog earlier because.
Not that Jeremy and I did this to get famous, but you know, like all the big YouTubers that you see, like that's when they started. It was like 2 or 3 years before we started vlogging. So it's like if that was the case, we probably would have, you know, like 1.2 million subscribers right now.
If you would have started from day one.
If we would have started, yeah.
Speaking of big YouTubers, Steve's Haunted Yard wants Jeremy to know that Julie said if you're going to wear a bra, that color doesn't go with your complexion. And Robert Gaskell wants to know, does the same process of arguing go into putting out the vlogs, or do you both have freedom to post whatever you want?
Sometimes we argue, like Zach will edit something out or not edit something out or vice versa, and it'll go up, and people have already started commenting on it, and it's like, why didn't you do that? Why didn't you?
There's been times where we have to delete the video because there's stuff that I forgot to take out. You know, that supposed to be in the vlog.
Something we shouldn't have said, maybe about someone that wound up on camera, and it's like
that one subscriber we hate. That's who.
Yeah. You know who you are.
Question. As far as that claustrophobic tunnel, where did you get that, and how effective was that for your customers?
That came from was it Scare Products?
Scare Products.
Scareproducts.com sells it. It's very effective. It's very effective. I mean, it even to the point where until it ripped last year, until it ripped 2 years ago now. We used it every year. We incorporated it in a different area, and everyone loved it. A lot of people were like stupid and like didn't know they were supposed to walk through it. They would just turn around and start walking backwards through.
Oh, no way! Are you serious?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Here's the thing. I used to absolutely love those claustrophobic rooms, and you go through those things until somebody posted on Facebook, and this goes back to like Brad earlier in his comment saying, "Well, I really did like that until I just read that, but." I loved it until somebody wrote, could you imagine the amount of people going through that with their snot and their sick and I'm like, oh, damn. You know how many of those things I've been through? I was like, that is nasty. So I hope to God somebody goes through and bleaches those things.
Two stories about claustrophobia tunnel. One, we're the first to say that ours never got cleaned. It just got boxed up every year.
No, wait a minute. No, before you go too far, just so anybody watching that doesn't know what we're talking about, a claustrophobia hallway or anything associated to that are two huge airbags that are down. Imagine a hallway that are completely filled with airbags, and you go into the dark, and you've got to push your way through this airbag so that it's compressed on you. So, you know, every crevice and everything is pretty much covered.
And by two huge airbags, you're not talking huge airbags, they're not talking about walking between and the up.
And then my second story, real quick, is we went to a haunt once that was at our mini golf course, actually right down the street from our apartment here, and they had a claustrophobia tunnel. There was the time that I know Jeremy was most scared in a haunted house because we were walking through a claustrophobia tunnel, and then Jeremy's in front of me, and then he stops, and I got mad at him, like, why are you stopping in the middle of claustrophobia tunnel? Because we've been through a million claustrophobia tunnels at this point in our lives, and I look down, and he screamed, and I screamed. There's a little girl, maybe 3 feet tall. She has these eyeball prosthetics. Her eyes are, like, falling on her face. She looks at me, and she does this weird, like, hiss, scream sort of thing, and it scared the shit out of me. I've never seen anyone leave an actor in a claustrophobia tunnel all night, because she was short enough to where, like, she wasn't like she was right below it, you know, because it was
she was in that void area. She was in that void area below.
Yeah, I was like ready to turn around. It was so scary.
You know, speaking of the germs and everything, you know, one thing you could do is I'd like to, you know, run through every now and then, go through that claustrophobia and just run like KY jelly right down through the middle of it. So when they do go into it, they're like, oh.
Yeah. Hey, Jim, you're the motherfucker, dude.
Yeah. You know what though?
That's not KY.
Yeah, Zach and Jeremy, you know, since we got you on and we're talking about this, one of the things I finally revisited one of our local haunts here, and they had a couple of those claustrophobia tunnels, but one of the things that they did have that I had never experienced before and I have not seen anywhere, and maybe it exists or they modified it to themselves, but instead of it being a full claustrophobia tunnel, what they did is you turned the corner and you started going down a walk, and in front of you it was all foggy, and in front of you as you went down through it, they had not a vortex laser, but they just had a laser plane, so you had kind of this horizontal laser, and as you went down it, the walk went down, and you entered into the claustrophobia from your legs all the way up to your shoulders, and as you got all the way down into it to your shoulders, then at that point they had actors on either side jumping out at you, and you couldn't do anything because your shoulders up was exposed. You couldn't like jump back or move. Yeah. You were just right. Well, that was really cool. That was a good concept that I had never experienced.
I know Scare Product sells different variations of it.
Yeah.
But when it ripped last year, we didn't want to take it down. Only one side ripped. So what we did was we lowered the pressure on one side of the wall so the bag wasn't as hard to get through. But then we put shock panels on this wall. So they're forced to be up against this wall, and they get shocked the entire way down.
There you go.
They didn't like that at all.
Why didn't you bring it to a sail maker?
It was the last weekend. So that had been like the second time it's ripped, and we sewed it back together. So at that point, we're just like, let's just throw it away.
Okay.
How expensive are they?
I don't know. I don't know. The stadium had it before we got hired, so to be honest, I'm not sure how much they cost.
I got a crazy story about claustrophobia here in the Netherlands. At the local hunt at the Six Flags Park, what happened was people were telling there's somebody who's touched them inside the claustrophobia. So getting to the manager, and he was saying like she got raped or something like it.
Oh, through the claustrophobia.
In the claustrophobia, that would be an actor inside, but that's not possible. Was not possible there. So and still not let it down, and still don't believe there's nobody inside.
You know, Dennis, something that came to mind earlier, and I'm not sure with where you're located in the Netherlands, especially compared to Germany, but with all of the U.S. military bases that are throughout Germany, and I don't know if you've got one that's near you. Is that an avenue that you can advertise your haunt? Because obviously you've got people from the States that are familiar with Halloween and going to haunts that now may be displaced and in a different country that are looking for something like that and may not necessarily have it.
The one happy thing, I'm here in a town. We got the headquarters of Nike Europe here.
Okay.
So we got many international people living in this town.
Yeah.
So that's always helpful.
So you've got it. So you can take advantage of that. People,
Yeah.
even though the locals may not be as familiar with it, you can take advantage of international people that do.
Yeah.
That's
And
good.
everybody, and what we found out that it was like a pre-going out thing. So before the people are going to town to drink, they love to go to the haunted house.
Northward's Hauntings wants to know, Dennis, do you get kids trick-or-treating?
No,
No, it doesn't happen there, right?
no, that's
Now,
not
what
an-
about
Well, I just paid $200.
Yeah. So what about Krampus though? Because that's huge in Europe. I don't know about in the Netherlands, but
Krampus?
are you familiar with Yes.
No,
I bet it's not huge in Europe. It's still kind of counterculture there, I would imagine, right? Like, it's not everybody cares about Krampus, right?
No, don't know. Don't even know what it is.
Oh, okay.
So
I would say, well,
It's
I was
huge
gonna say, I've
compared
got
to
it.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, it is huge compared to here. I do have a friend of mine that's from Germany that lives here, and only because of the military, and she is very familiar, only because that's what she grew up with. That was one of those ancient stories that just developed, and those were always things taught from a young girl all the way through about Krampus and what that aspect is. And then when she came to the States, and it was non-existent, so she was always kind of shocked at that.
Yeah.
That's fine. Hey,
Lots of
Brad, is there any more questions?
Lots of questions here.
Let's get to them.
Pandora Rose wants to know, there was for the Bloodshed Brothers, there was a time when it looked like you weren't sure if you're going to be back at the stadium again. What happened to change your mind? Like, how did that?
Oh, I remember that. You know, they're gonna go pro. I mean, another pro.
Yeah. Well, what happened was, we had our first year and we made X amount of dollars. And the second year we got all cocky. We're like, we're gonna make even more money, double the money, and we actually didn't. We made less than our first year. And so we left the stadium that year with a sour taste in our mouth. And then we were looking, like, maybe we should just go try opening our own pro haunt. And we got to the point where we had a nonprofit lined up. We had a lady who was actually trying to get us a building, and we had investor money lined up, but it all fell through because the stadium was asking us to start again, and we were ignoring them for a while. And then the lady who was getting us the building went to Africa for some weird reason for like 3 months, and we didn't hear from her until that summer. And so by that time we had already started the stadium again. So.
A comment, not a question, from Patrick Maloney. Tell the guys I want their Dracula. So that's been stated. Question from Chris from Scream Acres, Wisconsin. What are your rules for your actors regarding certain words not to say in a haunted house? For example, get out, why are you here, hurry up, leave.
They are not to yell or say get out, and they have to do something more than just scream.
Mm-hmm.
And
sorry, why is that? I didn't understand the context of that. Why do you not want to tell them to get out?
Because it's overused. It's overused, and it's not a scary. There's a million more things scary you can say, like an Alan Hopp's actor training DVD. You could get up in someone's face and say I'm gonna play with your intestines and turn them into a balloon animal. You could say something like that, or you could just yell get out. And plus the mentality behind it is you're going through a haunted house. There's only one way to go. They're already so as soon as you enter it, you're already getting out of it. So I mean, it doesn't make any sense to say.
Yeah.
So it's just as bad as saying boo.
Yeah, and we don't help me. No help me. Yeah, help me isn't that scary.
Boo would be really cool in the haunted house though. If you boo.
Only if you did it, Brad.
Only in Canada.
Wolfsbane Hollow wants to know, when are you going to do more zombie movies?
Okay, well, the quick version of that is potentially soon. There are 2 different ideas that I've come up with for zombie comedies. But if he's asking about when we're gonna get the band back together and do Matt and Wes, never. Matt and Wes is dead. It's not happening. We couldn't get the 2 of them together if we paid them. So well, actually, if we paid them, we probably could. Yeah. But that's probably not gonna happen. But if we ever do get Matt and Wes alone in a room and to film a zombie movie, we've gotten permission from the director and the writer of that original series to go ahead and film what we want and upload it on that channel. That's fine.
But I have this idea in my head where Marissa and her friend are like hardened zombie killers, and like Hit Girl from Kick-Ass. Marissa has like a whiskey drinking problem and stuff, and they're cussing and they're like smoking cigars and shit, and they're like kill zombies with like One Direction music. I think that'd be a really funny like short film to put on. So like that's my idea. Like I want to film something like that.
We've beat around the bush about neighbors and stuff in the evening. Chandra Huard wants to know, I guess this applies more to when you had a home haunt. Did you ever have anyone on the who really wanted to shut you down, and if so, how did you deal with it?
No one really wanted to shut us down.
Just those neighbors.
We had one group of neighbors that we knew weren't cool with it, but no one was aggressively trying to shut us down. In fact, some people donated candy for the trick-or-treaters. Other people gave us cash and said, go buy candy. And we had a thing at the home home where we only gave them king-size candy bars.
Because that's when we were trick-or-treating as kids. Like, that was, that's
deal.
what everyone passed out. And then, when our sister went trick-or-treating, everyone's getting the little fun size. So we're like, no, everyone's going to get king size when they come to the haunt. So we started a collection of money to do that.
Yeah, no one aggressively tried to shut us down. Thank you.
Northrad's Hauntings wants to know, what do you think is your... We talked about the What Would Hunters Say thing, but what do you think is your best YouTube video, and what's your favorite episode?
Ooh, oh my goodness. Oh, I wish I would have thought about this one.
Go ahead, Nate.
That's a good one.
One of my favorites. I don't know, like there's. Oh, actually, one of my all-time favorites. It isn't even a haunt video. It's a video of me, Zach, and our friend Chris day drinking at a bar, and like I'm really, really drunk, and like I'm trying to hold the camera and tell a story, and I'm being kind of flirty with my friend Chris, and Chris is a dude because like we've known each other a long time, so it was fine.
It's like first grade.
And Zach's telling a story about how he had to scrape a dead falcon off of a carpet at house he worked at. That's one of my favorite videos. But we go back and watch some, and they're just so funny. We're like, what happened? It's like, we used to be so funny.
Yeah.
Like the one of Zach, there was a home haunt one where Zach fell off the ladder and was stuck on top of the haunt and was begging for my dad's help. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
The one where you got hit in the face with a screw. That's a good one. When I whacked my knee and got the god dang it, that was a good one.
Yeah, the god dang it one was a good one. Yeah.
We can't close this night without hearing that though from both of you.
God dang it!
This Jeremy definitely not me.
You guys, let me tell you, that hurt so bad. It was like metal to bone connection.
Yeah.
Oh, and I had this nasty bruise.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
It hurt so bad.
Question for the brothers from Halstaff. What were the crowds like at West Coast? Was the show floor busy?
Yes.
I think they said they had almost 900 people this year, which was their busiest year so far. Yeah, it was pretty busy. They had the face-off contestants.
But the nice part about West Coast is because all the classes are free. Like if you bail on like the morning session, then the show floor is dead because everyone else is in the class.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Right.
I will have to say, I huge props to them this year because all the video footage and pictures and everything I've seen from this year, West Coast just looked absolutely amazing. It looked like they did a fantastic job, and everybody had an amazing time this year. I mean, not that they haven't had in past years, but just for some reason this year, I mean, you could tell that it's developing and growing, and this year just really shined.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the show floor doubled. I mean because we've gone every year since it started. When it was back in the gym of the Oregon School for the Deaf, when it was 10 vendors, and now there's nearly 50.
I think there's 67 this year.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
And it's free classes. I mean the free classes are one of the best parts. Sorry, go ahead.
Hey guys, when you had your home haunt and you were up to 1,800 people on a weekend or night. Did you ever get to a point where you guys started freaking out where you might need security or surveillance or insurance or something like that?
Well, our parents,
yes to all three of those.
Our parents upped their policy to $1 million at the house. My dad, at the time,
he was still a police officer.
He's a retired cop now, but he was active then. So he was
our security.
He was our security. He had his gun on him the entire time, just in case.
Okay.
And
then we went to Costco when we bought like the 8-camera like infrared security system, and we set that up in the haunt, and we just returned it after Halloween.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, so you can. That's a good thing.
Yeah, but other than people like complaining about the wait was too long, like no one really seemed to like get rowdy or mind too much that they were waiting like in our front yard, especially to go through such a small haunt. That was our biggest worry was the 45-minute wait for the 10-minute haunt was people coming, but people were coming out, fine. And I do remember standing out there. And we'd have so many people packed inside that maze, and they'd be banging up against the walls. Like the whole maze would shake, or like an electric chainsaw on this end of the haunt would go off, and the lights over there would flicker. It was kind of a nightmare, but it was a good nightmare. And at one point, we actually started running power to our neighbor's house, and we're plugging into their outdoor outlets. Yeah, yeah.
Ooh.
Wow. I mean, they let us. We asked them.
Any more questions for the guys from our panel here? And before I let them ask, this is awesome. Can I just say, like, having like 5 people out here with questions prepared, like, I can just sit back most of the night. This is
I know.
I'm loving it, dude. I'm like, this is awesome.
I still have a whole lot. I have a ton more questions. We can go for another hour.
Let's ask a few of them.
Let's see. Okay, if you guys are out on the West Coast in California.
Mm-hmm.
If you had the opportunity to drop where you're at now, come over to the East Coast with us, okay? Would you want to start from scratch, or would you want to bring the stuff that you have, props and scenes and everything, bring those with you, or would you want to start from scratch so you could, redesign, do something different?
I would bring all the shit because there's so much competition out there for haunts. That like it'd be so hard to start from scratch.
But then the other side of it is too, especially not that it's easy for everyone on the West Coast, but it's easier than here on the West Coast to just get people to come to your haunt. Like people know what haunts are on the East Coast. That's why there's so many. We don't have that luxury. Like we have to compare ourselves to Knott's Universal. It's like, oh, you know what they do at Halloween? Oh yeah, that's what we do. And everyone's like, oh okay. So then when they show up, now it's like, well, this isn't like Knott's Universal, like like quality-wise, because they have $1 million budgets and we don't.
And it's like you can drive 45 minutes longer to Knott's, pay $15 to $30 more. You get 13 haunts, funnel cake, roller coasters, good food, and it's like people are like, well, I'd rather go do that. So that really sucks, and that's something that I would love to get away from, because like on the East Coast, it's like our makeup artist is from Indiana, and she's like, we used to drive 4, even 6 hours just to haunt houses because there was nothing else to do. But here, it's like Disneyland's even fucking closer, or you go down to San Diego, that's only an hour. You could there's so much stuff to do that it's hard to get people to come to our haunt.
Huh. Wow, I would have never thought about that. I would have never put that in perspective on the West Coast, that it was like that. So you do not have, as far as the stadium goes, you do not have that many other haunts within a short distance besides having the big guys?
Yeah, pro haunt wise, our closest pro haunt is Sinister Point, which is in Brea, which is like 45 minutes north, and then we have the Haunted Hotel, which is in downtown San Diego, which is an hour south. And then besides for that, we just have home haunts around here, a few.
So and then the big boys are only like $15-$20 to get in.
Well, $15-$20 more than what we charge.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we charge $15 for 5 mazes. If you go to the first weekend of Knott's, it's $34 and you get 13 mazes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, but then but Sinister Point and Haunted Hotel, they charge a flat fee and you get to go through their haunt once, and then that's it.
So we're the only haunt between San Diego and Knott's Universal that you pay one ticket and you get to go through every maze as many times as you want, like Disneyland style.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's different. I've not heard that before either. That's kind of cool. I just don't get it because you pay $1 million. Well, that, and you pay $1 million for a 1,000 square foot home, but then only $30 to go through a haunt. It just seems so out of. I mean, honestly, it just seems so out of line. It does. I don't know.
Yeah.
And plus, it's not to say anything bad about where Lake Elsinore, where the haunt is, but where we live in Temecula and Marietta, there's 200,000 people all together, and it's a nice area. But Lake Elsinore, 60,000 people, not so nice of an area. Like the stadium regrets putting a baseball stadium in Lake Elsinore. They should have put it in Temecula where the people are. We have problem getting people to drive 15 minutes north to come to the stadium. It's crazy.
Cameron Minardo wants to know, will you be able to make it to the Abracadabra swap meet this year?
Maybe.
Did we go last year? I did, yeah. So maybe it depends if we have money or not. That's really what it comes down to.
So send the money. Send the money and
send us money.
Yeah.
We'll go to all the things.
My last question for you guys is, is when you guys did the fire retardant, do you know if you could put that on yourself? Spray it yourself, or?
I don't think you could. And I do know, like, having it in the maze made everybody really sneezy and stuff, so, like, I don't think you could probably put it on your skin. Yeah.
No, I'm not saying put it on
No, not yourself. Like,
no, can you apply it?
Actually apply it to the hunt.
I think you have to be
I blame the booze.
Don't put it on your skin. That would be retardant.
Do not take a bath in the fire retardant.
I'm gonna put fire retardant on myself, and I'm gonna pull an evil right here, right now.
You could apply it. You could apply it yourself. You can buy and apply it yourself, but we didn't purely because we'd rather hire the company to do it, so that way they're liable if something happened, not us in our. What if we didn't spray good enough, or because
Good point.
Good
point.
Does anybody else on the panel have their best question for the Bloodshed Brothers?
Give us one more
because we are pushing the past 2 hours.
All right, I got one last question.
You go first.
I just had 2,000 people at my home haunt on October 31st. Now it's November 1st. I want to go pro. What's my first step? Where do I go first?
Find money. Find an investor. Like some places won't even show you a building unless you can prove that you have the money to see it. So it's like find someone that wants to invest, or find like a nonprofit to team with that can maybe just use their we're doing like a nonprofit, and because we have a nonprofit and we donate X amount of dollars every year to the nonprofit. That's how we can get our actors. But if you say you have a nonprofit, usually people are, I'll donate you this building, if you kick a little money to the nonprofit type thing. That's what we were trying to do when we broke away from the stadium. Was she was using her nonprofit to get us the building, but then she just wanted us to put their logo on all the advertising stuff, which would have been easy. So yeah, find a building and find like a nonprofit or an investor to help. Or don't wait for a stadium to contact you. If there's somewhere that has space during Halloween, ask them, and usually they'll want to Halloween Hellmouth tried to do it at his stadium, and they were kind of on board with it. It's just go in there, be I'll do everything, you guys handle the business end, I'll build it, and we'll split the money.
Yeah. Well, and for instance, Jamie just got her local rodeo, and they've got ticket booths and everything established. Yeah. So there's a good point. Anything you've got local that's around you that's already established that has nothing going on at that time of year. See if they can offer anything up, because there's an advantage for them too.
Yeah. Now, last question from the audience here tonight. Now, we've had lots of home hunters on the show. We've had lots of pro hunters on the show. I think you guys are the ultimate home turned pro hunters on the show. So Jamie Huggins wants to know, and I'm going to add an addendum onto the end. She wants to know what's the most challenging thing about running a pro hunt over a home hunt. And then I'll add on, and what's the most rewarding thing?
The most challenging is the time restraint. If we were in our own situation where we had our own building, I'm sure that wouldn't be an issue. The hunt would be built right now. We could have been doing this Hangout live in our own building in our own hunt. But since we're competing with baseball and stuff, it's time restraints is the hardest part. But I would say that for any hunt. If we had the time, if we had our own building, our own hunt somewhere, we'd just be, we'd be farther along in the process, but we would still feel like we're running out of time and not get everything we want to get done. Yeah, and to that, it's having, about 2 weeks to build 5 mazes, 2 weeks each to build 5 mazes, and they're, well over 2,000 square feet each. But my personal one is dealing with so many volunteers. If there's one thing that makes me not like doing a professional hunt, is having to deal with, not every volunteer, because there's a handful that are amazing people. The kids that don't care. The kids that don't care are the ones that really suck. But the most rewarding part is still non-tourists. I call them muggles. But it's still like being able to look, take a deep breath and look at these 5 mazes and be like when we started there was nothing here, and now there's these individual things that just are breathing life. And for me, because I know every hunter knows this, the feeling you get on Halloween, that excitement feeling, people are getting scared, that joy, we get to experience essentially
weekends.
17 times or 18
Yeah.
times. No,
Yeah.
we're open longer than that. 21 times. You know, we experience that every weekend for 5 weekends. And like even
Wow.
towards the last weekend, we're not sick of it. You know, like yeah, we're kind of excited for it to be over just because like finally we're done. But it's like we're still excited that we're open like for our last night. And it's still the same. There's still on the first night. It's like, fuck, what if nobody shows up?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. And we
Right.
still have
It's kind of like this hangout.
we still have terrible haunted house dreams,
Yeah.
like that things aren't getting done or it's opening and things aren't done. Like that
Yeah.
still happens. That doesn't go away.
Dude, I don't even think there would be one home haunter that would ever do it again if they didn't get that happy feeling
Oh,
at the
yeah,
very
yeah,
end.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you like, oh my God, seriously. But then once you see it all together and everybody like, scared and screaming and crying, you're like, that's why I do it.
Yeah.
That's why I do it.
Yeah, and for us, there's times where like Zach will have to pull me aside and he's like, hey, like, look what we're doing. Like, don't
Yeah.
worry about what this little asshole just said to you. Like, and how much you want to punch him in the face or send him home. Like, just look what we're getting to do. Like, take a minute and like listen.
Yeah.
We have to tell each other that a lot because like it is difficult to like maintain that happiness when there's so many things happening. Like when you're running this event that suck, and not even to mention like shitty customers too. Like we didn't touch on those people.
Yeah.
But like so.
Before we do close, though, something that we've been kind of talking about here and there from the beginning, you just touched on. You've mentioned that you've had your volunteers, and that may not be that into it, but then you also mentioned because you've got a charity, and that's how you get some of them. Why are those volunteers at your haunt if they're not that into it? Is it something that they're obligated to do?
They get a credit. I think they get a credit.
They in Lake Elsinore, you need like 40 to 60 hours of community service to graduate.
Community service. Yeah. That's a
And
credit.
like, and it's the easiest way to get community service. So we'll get kids showing up, for they'll work the first weekend and get their 30, 40 hours, and then we'll never see them again. And so it's like, and it's like, and it has to kind of go off Lake Elsinore, like since it's not the best part, it's not the best area.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it, but like the kids aren't the best,
Okay.
brought up wise. So it's like,
Well, why are you even taking those volunteers?
Well,
Is it because of
Because they interviewed good. They interviewed good.
yeah, because they had a decent audition, and because they know we need them.
Okay.
But
I'm just curious.
over the years, we've gotten better at like, okay, you need to get out. Our first year, like we were too scared to even like look at someone too sternly. But now it's like, if you're messing around, it's like we tell you once, or we tell you twice in one night, you're done. We have to tell you 3 times over the entire event, you're done. And plus, we get those volunteers because like those are the 3 high schools closest to the stadium, and the stadium when it's not haunt season does different things with those high schools anyways. So like that's just
so they're required no matter what.
Yeah, I mean all the high schools here are too. We'll get people from down where we are. Like I mean, to like our Marissa has to get I think 50 hours to graduate high school. She already has them, but yeah. So like it's just a thing in here in Southern California. You have to have X amount of community service hours to graduate.
All right, so Dennis, you got
Yes.
that last? We got Jensen and Dennis. Get that last question out there. It's getting late. I know that. In case nobody knows, this man has stayed up. It's 3 o'clock.
What time is it now, Dennis, for you?
It's almost 5:30 and outside
Right.
the light.
So, we need to give Dennis an applause to watch the Young with the Bloodshed Brothers and stayed up till 5 in the morning.
That is awesome.
So, we gotta wrap it up. Man,
And real quick, like we just want to say thanks for everyone that wanted to hang out with us. It's super cool. And we don't have to just do this to talk. If you ever have any questions, you just want to shoot the shit, email us, Facebook us. You can even call us if you want. We're not some hermits. I mean, we kind of are, but internet. We're hermits with the internet. So seriously, if you guys ever want to talk, we are more than happy to talk. Jeremy will wear his glove for you.
I just want to add, this is one of my favorite episodes of the year. This is great, very informative. If any of the guests would like to, on the Facebook page or the YouTube comments page, there are questions people have have asked that we haven't been able to get to tonight. You can answer them tomorrow or whenever it's convenient.
We'll go through and answer them for sure.
Yeah, I will go to it also.
Yeah, but thanks
Thanks
everyone for being on tonight. It was a great show.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It means a lot to
thank
us
you
that
for
you
having
guys
us.
did our stuff. Dennis has a question. Yeah. So someone has a question? Dennis had a question. I'm sorry.
Dennis,
Yeah.
We're gonna make it quick because we know Dennis is like this is
I'm-
pretty long show.
Yeah, I'm getting tired, but no problem.
Dennis, you got any final questions or words?
I was wondering how they were talking about the makeup artist, how they get it done, all the people on time in makeup. Are they doing it themselves, or does the makeup artist do it, or how do you manage it?
We have one paid makeup artist, and she's in charge of a team of like 7 to 10 other makeup artists. We rarely get everyone done in time, but we have a mix of masks and makeup. This year we're doing more masks, so it's not 7 o'clock and there's still 20 people in the makeup line. So we're still working on it, but we just have a team of makeup people, and they all report to one girl.
How long does it take?
The actors get there at 4, we have anywhere between 60 and 80 actors a night. So it takes around 3.5 hours to get everyone.
Wow.
That was the same problem around here. So I was wondering, how do you pull it off? We had exactly the same problem. We had like 6, 7 makeup artists to get 50 people done.
A big change we're doing this year is we're doing more masks. We're buying more masks this year, and then we're also our makeup artists. We're divvying it up instead of which makeup artist is free. It's like we're assigning like 2 makeup artists per maze. So like if there's girls that are good at doing just blood and gore, they'll be in charge of doing like the hillbillies, so that way instead of everyone just being one long line, it's like 2 girls can do the 15 hillbillies and 2 girls can do the 15 clowns, and just go off that instead of because it got to the point where it's like I'm waiting for my favorite makeup artist to get makeup done, so I'm just gonna stand in line until she's available. That's not happening anymore. Yeah, and what we've gotten in the habit of doing too is like there's people that would argue. It's like no, I want to go to this makeup artist. It's like then go home. We'll find someone that will listen to us. Or with masks this year, people are like I don't want to wear a mask. Wear it or go home. Like we'll find someone that wants to wear a mask.
Okay.
We have zero tolerance for these people anymore. Yeah.
I got one more question before we sign off. I'm sorry to ask, but
I don't mind. It's only 8 here. Yeah.
Career goals, long term for you guys. Are you hoping to? I mean, you're pro hunters now, but are you aiming to get deeper into the industry to make it be the only thing you do, like as opposed to having day jobs? Does that seem like a realistic goal? Like, what are you guys aiming for?
I always want to go deeper, and so
do I.
I was waiting for that. It's like, nobody playing our team is to have our own building and to have it be called the High Street Massacre, and you walk inside and it looks like you're on a city street, and so you have the High Street Massacre, and then you maybe have like the High Street Asylum and the High Street Carnival, and it's all gonna be like you're in this weird like fucked up city, and that's always been our dream hunt. So that's what we want to do. I would love to not have to work a normal job. I mean, we have it right now to where it's like we can kind of almost work like part-time over summer and like September and October to run the haunt. But it obviously doesn't pay all the bills, or else we'd be going to all the conventions. So yeah.
And you'd have electricity all the time.
Yeah, we have electricity all the time.
I think if anyone,
guys,
it's you guys because you're young and collaborative. And
that's the most messed up part about it is like you want to do what they're doing, and you're like, shit, man, if I wait any longer, right?
Honestly, I think that's been some of the biggest appeal with Zachary and Jeremy is the fact that they are young. It's one of those things that all of us have been like that we would have always strived to do, and we've all been watching.
That ain't no appeal, man. They make me sick.
Oh no, we've been watching.
I'm like, I got into hunting like I'm like 45 or 46.
I know. Well, exactly. We've been watching them grow up. We've been watching them grow up through this.
I ain't
like,
wow, bastards no more, man. They can kiss my ass.
We can try our hardest. We can try our hardest, but we don't have the sweet cans that they've got over there.
That's right.
That's right. But all honesty, I think that is some of the biggest appeal is the fact that you guys have been able to do this as young as you are and been able to go on through it. Because it's one of those deals like, wow, if we had to do it over again 20 years ago, maybe we could have done that. But no, it's cool. And in all honesty, it was a pleasure to have been able to meet you guys in person at Trans World.
Oh yeah, same with you
and
guys.
I hope,
so much fun.
Yeah, I hope to God that
Hey, that was a lot of
can happen in the future.
moonshine drinking right there.
Yes, there was.
I want to talk about it. I miss it so much.
Right. But
Yeah,
we're gonna finish the show off, and
If only you could be at MHC.
Right. We're gonna
Next
finish
year.
the show off, and we want to thank the Bloodshed Brothers for coming on our show
Yeah.
and giving us all the amazing info. I really didn't expect that much info and insight, but you guys really brought it, and we want to thank you for that. And we want to thank all their followers and guests that came on.
Panel.
The panel.
Thank you guys.
Good job, guys.
It means more than you guys know. Like that, you guys
Right.
like.
And I was totally amazed they came up with the questions and they just kept rolling. And
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody learned a lot from this show. And we want to thank everybody. And we got one show left, and
Yeah, one more.
One
and then
more.
off to MHC.
Woo! One more show, and then we're done till next year. But we definitely want to thank everybody on the panel. And my wife is still asking why a man's wearing a bra.
I want to say thank you to the Bloodshedders and thank you to all you guys too.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.